Let's do this. It's the real Jonathan Smith Show on Indie Sports Ticket, 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indie Sports Ticket app.
What's going on? Welcome into the real Jonathan Smith Show here on a beautiful Monday. May the 4th be with you, right? National Star Wars Day. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. Hopefully you made it out to the Indy Mini. It was a great time. Probably a better time for the spectators than it was for the people who actually ran in it. I'm joined by ZPL's Crash.
What's going on?
What's up, man? Crash ran in the Indy Mini over the weekend. What was your time? What was your goal? How'd it go for you?
My goal was just to beat 150.
Nice.
Well, it's something I've been working on for 3 years. According to my watch, I went a 133. According to the Mini, I went a 134. I got just inside the top 1,000.
That's awesome.
It's not a world record like we had a couple of those.
Did we really?
Yeah, we had an 11-year-old break. I think his name was Ben Dick. He set the age group 11 world record with a 120. And they're looking into it to be a little more than just that. It's supposed to be like a really big deal. It is a really big deal. It's a world record. But and then 5 guys dressed as a caterpillar.
Saw them.
Yeah, they probably passed you because I saw their first 5K was a 15-something. And when you're running with 4 other guys attached to you and you still turn in a 15, that's insane.
That's absurd.
That was a world record too.
I'm sure it was. Man, I ran it. My goal was 2.5 hours. I ran it in 2:24.
Okay.
Felt really good about it, man. Like, how many minis have you ran or half marathons?
For time 3.
Okay. This is my first one, period. And the process leading up to the race was terrible. But the race itself, I had so much fun. Like, running around the track was incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like if I hadn't run around the speedway, I probably would have finished faster because I was just like looking around the whole time.
It's majestic, man.
It is.
Yeah.
You stop and kiss the bricks?
No, I didn't. I'm too much about my time.
Running for time.
Yeah.
I did it really quickly. I just like stopped, bent down, kissed it, and kept going. My mom like took a full video of herself doing it. I was
nice.
Care a little bit too much about my time for that. So
I started seeing my average pace, and I'm like, bricks gotta wait.
Have you kissed the bricks before?
No. Last year I ran with somebody, and I went their pace, and I could have kissed the bricks because he wasn't as worried about time. It was more about completion.
Yeah.
I should have did it last year. But I should have done.
Yeah, just run it next year and do it.
Yeah, but then I'm going to want to beat this year's time next year. That's the point.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Again, joined by Crash over on from our sister station, ZPL. Yeah, man, like the whole event I thought was great. Did you pay attention to the signs?
Some of them.
Did you see the there's one that made me laugh. It was the one that said who says that girls don't finish?
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
That was the best one.
What mile was that at? Because
that was like right at the end. That's when I saw it.
Okay, mile 5, when you right before you're approaching the Speedway, Main Street on Speedway, it has the best signs too. Okay. I can't recall one off the top of my head, but I looked at a couple. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
Have the ones with like, press here for a power up?
Yeah.
If you're over the age of 7, I'm not touching it. But if you're a child, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I saw so many kids just like holding their hands out and all these people just like running by them, not paying them any attention. I was like, you guys, come on now. This kid's 4. Mm-hmm. It's cold.
Yeah. He's out here cheering.
Give him a little dap. Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah, I saw the power-up sign. It was mile 12. I remember seeing it. It had the big mushroom. Yeah, before you turn on the bridge.
Okay. What time did you start?
I was supposed to start at 7:40, but restroom was more important, so I started at 7:55. I waved 2.
Okay.
You were 2 minutes behind me. I looked at your stats. You were 2 minutes
behind. You did?
So you were in the same wave as me, but I think you might have been like 3 rows behind me because that's about 2 minutes.
Probably. Yeah. So basically what happened, I was supposed to run in Corral M, which I think was wave 3.
Yeah.
But when we went to the expo, my mom ran in it. Her goal was sub 2. And she was like, I don't want to finish and have to wait even longer for you to finish. And so they were nice enough to move me up, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And so which I'm glad, because I was like, I want to start and I want to finish as soon as possible.
We all want to start and finish as soon as possible. It's the point of the race.
It is. And so it was fun though. I don't know if I'll do another Yeah, everyone keeps asking me. Like, there's some people in the chat. I think Gritty asked if I was going to do another one. I don't know. Ask me in like a month. I think that's kind of where I'm at.
You gonna have me back in a month to ask you?
Sure, if you want.
June 5th? No, it's 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4th.
Aren't there 31 days in
Yeah,
May, though?
it's because I don't celebrate May the 4th. I'm not a Star Wars guy, so.
Oh, you're not?
I'm not. Unfortunately, it missed me when I was younger, and I just never got into it when I tried.
Really?
Yeah.
Star Wars people are interesting because I think I'm a rare breed of like, I've seen all the movies, and that's more than enough for me. And then I know people who are like you guys, where it's like, I don't care for Star Wars at all. And then I have other friends who are like buying books, and they're like, this is canon.
Yep.
This is like fiction. I'm like, isn't it all fiction?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it all
Naming
fiction?
their dog after it.
Yep, exactly. And so I don't know which one's worse, you know? Because, like, okay, I'm going to tell a short story. Again, joined by Crash from ZPL. We were talking about the Indy Mini. Now I guess we're talking Star
My bad.
Wars.
That's
No, you're good. So when Amelia and I first started dating, we went to her friend's engagement party. I didn't know anybody there. This is my first time meeting, like, all of her friends. And, like, all the women go over to one side, and all the men go over to the other. And I'm standing over there, and I'm like, sports, blank stares. Star Wars, everybody lights up. That's just, like, a thing that you can go to when you don't know people to get them talking.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you go to when you're in, like, a group setting like that?
If they're not into running, we don't have much to talk about. Running to me is like Star Wars. I'm just saying, it's what I'm into. It's what I do all the time. So we can go back to the Mini, you know.
Okay.
I love the Mini. I love it every year.
It was, like I said, I had a great time. I wish there were fewer potholes.
Oh, yeah.
That's my biggest request from it.
If you haven't done the Mini, the only thing you got to worry about really is mile 10, 11, 12, bodies just start dropping off, or somebody will like slouch over and they'll just kind of step off to the side and they'll just run right into you.
Yep.
And you don't see it coming.
I had a guy on mile 11. I was, kind of starting to like roll again, find like I wouldn't call it a second wind, but I was picking up my pace. And this one, like you said, just slouches over.
Yeah.
Doesn't look behind him. I let out a loud like, dude, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. The very first one that I ever ran, I was just trying to finish it, and somebody came off of the curb and hit me and about made me stop, and I was so mad. It was 12 and a half miles. I'm like, I've been doing this for over 2.5 hours now, and you about ruined it for me.
What was your time on your first one?
2:40.
2:40. That's good, though.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
I think everyone should do it once.
Yeah.
Talking to you, Chris.
You should.
Don't look at me.
You should do it once,
We
man.
know that I don't run.
I mean, hey, I didn't run until 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whenever I started training for it.
Were there speed walkers out there, like joggers and
yeah.
stuff, or did you have to run?
No, you have to run.
Okay.
So my one of my really good friends, his name's Robbie. Whenever you sign up for it, it asks, are you going to run or are you going to walk? And then it asks you how long do you think it's going to take you? So my buddy Robbie put, I'm going to run and it's going to take me 4 hours. He was in Corral Z. He was all the way in the back.
Corral Z. Is that a thing?
Yeah, that was the last
didn't-
corral. That was the last corral. And
know.
he ran it. I think he did it in like 3 hours and 20 minutes or something like that.
They don't have people chasing you, telling you have to run, but I can tell you'll get it done a lot quicker and get it over with if you
There
run.
is
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a bus. There's a bus they'll come pick you up if you don't finish in time.
They do the same thing on the Tour de Coman. We did the Tour de Coman ride to Terre Haute, and they have a bus in the back. And once you go over the hills of 40 on a bicycle, they had to pick me up at mile 70. I made it. I made it all the way to mile 70.
Mile 7. How far is this?
It's 100 miles. It's for breast cancer awareness every end of September.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You doing that this year?
I don't know because they torched me last time, and we had the twins this past year, so I couldn't go.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But if you want to do it with me, I got know a guy.
I don't like running. I despise riding bikes. I hate every like 5-year-old kid, like at least growing up for me, everyone like rode their bikes around the neighborhood. Not me. I was like, guys, I'll run, I'll ripstick, I'll ride a scooter.
Yeah.
I'm not riding my bike. Can't stand riding my bike.
Yeah,
brutal.
this is. I hate hills, and I had no idea because we did 2 stages. They do they do 25, 25, 20, or 5 stages of 20, whatever. We stopped at one, and the guy goes, "Well, now we get into the hills," and I'm like, "My legs hurt. You mean it gets worse from here?" I thought this was for Susan G. Komen.
Yeah.
You know, Tour
That's
de France
hilarious.
over here.
That's hilarious.
They maintain a 20 mile an hour the whole way. They maintain 20 miles an hour the whole way. You have to.
So you have to do it in 5 hours or less.
Yeah, so they'll go above it, they'll go below it, they'll go, but it maintains at 20 for average, and you have to be able to do it.
Jeez,
I mean, it's
so you're
nuts.
moving. It's not like a leisurely. It's not like a leisurely thing. Like you've really got to be moving.
Yeah, I was going downhill on 40 trying to catch them because every time they go up a hill, they get farther away. I was going 37 miles an hour on this bicycle, and I'm like, I better slow down or I'm just going to be road rash everywhere. If
Yeah.
you fall, all I have is a helmet. That's it. I didn't have any knee pads, elbow pads, any kind of a bulletproof vest, nothing. If I smack, I'm done.
Bulletproof vest. Again, joined by Crash from ZPL, our sister station, talking about the Indy Mini and other things,
Yeah,
like
sorry.
riding bikes 100 miles. Are you? There's a 50K every year where they run the Monon.
Mm-hmm.
Did you run that last year? I remember we talked about it.
I've run the Monon from Sheridan to 10th Street, but that was only 27. They do a little side piece to add that extra 3 miles, and I have not done that one though.
Okay,
But that one's big. I like that one.
you do. Okay,
I like it, but I'd love to do it.
That's a long way, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Monon Track
Fast.
Club.
the Monon track.
It's the Monon Track Club.
That's
It's
a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there you go. Well, all right, Crash. I appreciate you stopping in for like 10 minutes or so. Always a blast. I'll let you know if I'm gonna run it again next year. We'll see.
All right, man.
I need someone to be like someone in my family outside of my mom because she'll ask me
She's a
probably
pro.
every year. Dude, she's run 11 of them.
Oh, she's an absolute pro.
This
then.
was her 11th mini, and we got done. And have you seen the trend on TikTok where like you do like, "Hi, I'm Jonathan. This is me before the Indy Mini," and then we did that. And I come from a slightly competitive family, so my mom, for her after, she was like, "I'm Jonathan's mom. I ran it in 2 hours and 8 minutes. I didn't meet my goal, but I beat Jonathan. That's really all that matters."
And I'm still upright, and Jonathan's not.
I actually felt pretty good after. I was surprised at how okay I felt.
I figured those videos were like, who's hurting the least as they cross the finish. Like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go again.
good.
What's up with you guys?
I went from the race to my buddy's bachelor party where we played sports all day.
my man.
So like straight into like slow pitch softball and kickball and all sorts of stuff. And played decently well given the circumstances. So, I
Yeah.
live with it. All right, Crash. Thanks for stopping in, man.
Yeah, man.
You got it. What about you, Chris? What'd you do this weekend? How was karaoke?
I did not run. Don't let me put out the impression that I'm lazy or anything like that. And when I go to the gym, I'll get on the treadmill, do
Okay.
about 3 miles, but I'm not
Running?
running. I'm not running.
We're walking it.
Just speed walking.
Is there a reason why you don't walk outside?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just not, I don't know. It's not for me.
It's a good time of the year to do it.
Like, I don't know. I've been on tour with bands and there's so much walking involved from here to there. Stuff like that doesn't bother me, but running, I'm just not interested in. But my weekend was okay. Karaoke went fine. Had a decent night Saturday night. If you guys are interested, come out sometime on a Saturday night and sing some songs.
I'm
man.
gonna come out at some point.
You
I gotta
should.
figure out when we're gonna do that, but
Absolutely.
I got you. Absolutely, absolutely.
Even if you don't want to sing, just come out and watch people. It's good entertainment.
It really is. It really is. Thanks again to Crash for stopping in. You can listen to him on ZPL. Again, my weekend super busy. I'm so excited for the show today. Obviously, we just had Crash in. We're gonna have Nick Pedone from the Big Play Cleveland Sports. He's gonna join the show at 1:00. We're gonna talk about all the Game 7s that happened over the weekend. We're of course gonna talk about the upcoming NBA draft lottery. What should the Pacers do if they land a top 4 pick? We'll do JonathIN, JonathOUT at probably like 1:20. So after we talk to Nick Pedone, and we'll talk a little bit of Kentucky Derby as well. So much fun to watch. I just golden tempo with one of the best comebacks you will ever see, really in any sport, period. So very excited to get into all of that. And we will talk Pacers lottery and the one thing that they have to worry about in about 3 minutes. If you want to look and feel your best this summer, Indiana Medical Center is your solution. They're a leading medical spa offering transformative, non-surgical treatments. This Friday at 9 a.m., go to indiesportsticket.com and click on the Sweet Deals tab to get any body sculpting, skin tightening, or facial rejuvenation, a $399 treatment for only $149.
It may, one day, be a must-listen for sports enthusiasts.
Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Uh-oh. The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thanks for tuning in. No matter how you're tuning in, YouTube, X, the Indy Sports Ticket app, 1430 AM. So many ways to listen. There's really no excuse not to. And for all of us basketball fans here in Indiana, I believe that we all have May 10th circled. It's a big day. It's the lottery. Some of you are like, what about Mother's Day? Who cares about Mother's Day? I do. That's a joke. The lottery is on Sunday, and I'm just so ready to figure out where the Pacers are going to wind up picking this year. Hopefully they land in the top 4, because that would be huge for them going into next year. They've got a deep and talented roster already. This would only add to that. And it'd give them a succession plan for when Pascal Siakam ages past the point of being a reliable star. Now, look, he's only 32 right now. That's probably not going to happen for another 5 years or so. But part of a general manager's job is to think about the future, right? And that, to me, is what makes this upcoming draft so interesting for the Pacers, given that they, win essentially a top 4 pick this year. How do the Pacers marry trying to win this year, but also building for the future? Because they know that they're probably not going to have a top 4 pick for a long while, as long as they have Tyrese Halliburton healthy. I want to go back to 2020. The Warriors were still at the peak of their powers, but injuries kind of ruined that 2019 season. They wind up with the number 2 overall pick, where they end up taking James Wiseman. And I believe that move at the time for the Warriors was a win then and now move. They weren't overly concerned about their future. If they'd been thinking long term, then they probably would have taken LaMelo Ball because he had the most star power in that draft outside of Anthony Edwards. And, I'm sure Warrior fans would argue with me about all that kind of stuff, but hey, that's fine. One of the really cool parts about basketball and the way that it has evolved and changed over the last decade or so is it is now positionless. You'll watch lineups where all 5 guys on the floor are 6'8". You'll watch, lineups where the center's 6'8" and the power forward is 6'6", and so on. You'll have really big lineups where no one is shorter than 6'6", and so on. Looking back at those 2020 Warriors, they should have paid less attention to we need a center and more attention to how do we surround Steph Curry with as many good and talented players as possible. This is one of the many ways that the NFL and the NBA are different. In the NFL, you draft for need, right? The NFL draft is like grocery shopping. You go out, you buy the things that you need to make dinner, and then you go home. You don't worry about value. In the NBA, it is all about value. You take the best player available, especially when you have a top 4 pick. Drafting for fit when you're in the top 4 is like remodeling your kitchen based on the fact that your toaster's broken. Sure, like you need a toaster today to make breakfast, but you don't pass up on like a high-end marble countertop island just because you're looking for a spot to plug in a $20 appliance. In 5 years, you won't care about the toaster. You're going to care about the value of your house. Okay? And when you look at the Pacers, that is how they need to evaluate this. I think A.J. DeBonsa is like the marble island in that analogy, and Darren Peterson is the toaster that fits the current outlet. I'm also a big believer in the idea that smart people figure it out. Rick Carlisle, his staff, and Tyrese Halliburton are incredibly smart people. And you have to be smart to play for the Pacers. Like, that is just a prerequisite to even be considered to be drafted. So I'm sure whoever the Pacers wind up taking is going to check that box. This is one of the nice parts of having Tyrese Halliburton on your team. He is so smart. He is such a gifted playmaker that almost anyone can play beside him and do what they do well. It's part of why Miles Turner went from being like an 18.7 rebound a game guy here in Indiana to being nowhere close to that during his time in Milwaukee. He wasn't playing alongside a point guard as good and as gifted as Tyrese Halliburton is at getting guys the ball in spots where they can do what they do well. And the Pacers have to use that to that advantage when they make their first pick. I've heard several people mention how Darren Peterson is the best fit for what the Pacers need right now. James Wiseman was the best fit for the Warriors in 2020. But now, 6 years later, we're at the end of Steph Curry's career, and they're about to hand the franchise off to Brandon Podziemski while James Wiseman is out of the league. A guy that they basically won a championship without in 2022. That's the last thing that the Pacers want to do. There's one thing in basketball that always works. It's called talent. Darren Peterson can do one thing. He can score. That's the one thing he did really well at Kansas, averaged 20 points per game and 24 games played. He didn't create for others at Kansas. That 1.6 assists per game mark is pitiful for a guy who had the ball as often as he did. He wasn't an elite defender at Kansas. He wasn't a great rebounder, and he had some injury issues during his time there. Not a fan. But sure, yeah, he could probably come off the bench for the Pacers next year and, kind of run that second unit in a similar way that Benedict Mathurin did without all of the rebounding that Benedict Mathurin brought to the table as well. The best players in the NBA can do multiple things. When people talk about the best players, they say they can score and they can ... Cam Boozer can score and he's a good passer. Cam Boozer can score and he's a good rebounder. Cam Boozer can score and he has a high basketball IQ. AJ DeBonsa can score and he's a good passer. AJ DeBonsa can score and he's a good rebounder. AJ DeBonsa can score and he's a good defender. There's no and with Darren Peterson. There's and with DeBonsa and Boozer. And that is why I prefer those two guys over Darren Peterson, even though Darren Peterson might be the better fit for the Pacers right now. But what about in 5 years when Tyrese Halliburton's, moving into his early 30s, still in a good spot in his career to help you compete for titles, while Pascal Siakam is kind of aging out of that at the age of 37? I want and. Like, Pascal Siakam's a good player because he can score and he can rebound. Pascal Siakam's a good player because he can play on and off the ball, and he can score, and so on. Think of these prospects kind of like stocks. Darren Peterson is a pure growth stock. He does one thing. He produces points. But if the market shifts, he has a bad quarter, he has a bad series, you're stuck. AJ DeBonsa and Cam Boozer are blue chip, diversified portfolios. They pay dividends in passing, they have equity in defense, and they've got growth in scoring. When the playoffs get tough and the defense takes away your primary option, a pure stock crashes. But a diversified one, a player with an and, keeps you in the green. So I think it's very clear what the Indiana Pacers should do if they wind up with a top 4 pick. Hopefully the lottery balls are in their favor. Take AJ DeBonsa. If he's on the board, when you have your opportunity to pick, take that guy. I don't care that he's a power forward. Don't care at all. He's athletic enough to play small forward. And let's say for some reason he can't play small forward. Then you can go small with Obi Toppin at center off the bench. This is something that I've heard multiple people say. Well, like if you take Cam Boozer or AJ DeBonsa, they play the same position as Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin. So, like, when are they going to play? I love Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is an excellent fit for this Indiana Pacer team. The way he runs the floor, his ability to catch and shoot from 3, his athleticism and his ability to finish at the rim. Love Obi Toppin. Great fit. Not as talented as Cam Boozer or AJ DeBonsa. So I don't care that AJ DeBonsa is a power forward. If he's there, you take him because he's athletic enough to run the floor the same way that Obi Toppin does. He's a better passer than Obi Toppin is. I think he's going to wind up being a better defender than Obi Toppin is, and so on. And look, I don't care that Cam Boozer plays power forward either. Okay, he's a smart enough player that he can play alongside Siakam and Obi Toppin. This is where we go back to that point about how basketball has become positionless. Like there are lineups out there where you can play 2 power forwards and a center. You'll probably be better defensively with those lineups just because of the sheer amount of size that you're going to have on the floor. So sure, Darren Peterson is the best fit right now. But what about 5 years from now? When Pascal Siakam's 37 and the Pacers are gearing up for another playoff run. You're going to want another 26-year-old young guy who can come in and really make an impact. And that is hopefully going to be whoever the Pacers take with that top 4 pick. That has to matter in this pick as well. The Pacers can't obtain tunnel vision where they only focus on next year, because you want to be relevant 5 years from now, unlike the Golden State Warriors. They settled for the toaster with James Wiseman as opposed to that marble countertop with LaMelo Ball, because I think we can all agree if they'd taken LaMelo at number 2, they'd be in a significantly better position right now in terms of continuing relevance as a franchise going forward. So the Pacers should just take the best player available. Well, Jonathan, there's really no replacement for Pascal Siakam. There's not, but there doesn't need to be. This is where we go back to the fact that Tyrese Halliburton is a basketball supercomputer. His ability to just read the game. He is going to be the guy that primarily handles the ball for the Pacers for as long as he's here. For as long as he's here. Doesn't matter who else they bring in. That guy's the point guard. That guy's running the offense. And he's going to find a way, whether it's Cam Boozer, Pascal Siakam, AJ DeBonsa, Caleb Wilson, whoever, he's going to find a way to get them the basketball in a position where they can continue to be successful. So please, just take the best player available. Don't overthink it. Don't get tunnel vision. Don't fall into that, well, Darren Peterson, he can help us out right now. He can help us more than these other guys. Yeah, he's not as good as those other guys. And it's not just about right now. It's about 5 years down the line as well. 317-228-1430. That is the number if you want to call in or text your thoughts on the Pacers and the lottery odds. Who do you want them to take? Who do you want them to avoid at all costs? And so on. Anything like that. We can talk Colts as well. We can talk Game 7s. I saw Haas saying that Joe Mazzulla needs to be fired. He's not going to get fired. That dude won an NBA championship a couple of years ago. Jamal Mosley got fired, though. We didn't talk about this really at all last week. With that being said, I mean, the Magic had a 20-point lead in Game 6, and they proceeded to score 19 points in the second half. Not a quarter. They scored 19 points in a half.
Have you ever seen a choke job like that before?
No.
That was insane.
I haven't seen offense that bad since my 7th grade middle school basketball team. I mean, come on. In a half. I said I wasn't going to share this on the air, but I am going to. I played in a men's basketball league for the first time in my life this winter. We went 1-7. We were awful. We played 8-minute quarter. It was like two 20-minute halves, running clock. We scored more than 19 points in every half we played in. The Orlando, Jamal Mosley being fired absolutely should have happened. You were up 3-1 in the series. You totally collapsed, and I get it. The Pistons are really good and all those things. Like, that's great. That's fine. That's dandy. Okay, I understand that. But 19 points in a half? When you're up by freaking 20. And you can't generate a layup? You can't just, isolate Paulo on the block? You can't work him into a switch where he gets to attack Duncan Robinson and you get a layup? I mean, that's bad coaching. Everyone's going to rip Mazzulla, and trust me, I have plenty of thoughts on the Boston Celtics and everything that they did in their series, and one of the issues with analytics. But ultimately, Jamal Mosley was the worst coach in the playoffs. 19 points. Just incredible. Doesn't get any worse than that. 19 points and a half. And then you lose Game 7 on the road, even though your star went and got you 38. Paulo was really good in that game, but no one else showed up for the ride, which has been the story of the Magic for a lot of the year. Just inconsistency and injuries. If Franz Wagner doesn't get hurt, they probably win that series. But he did get hurt, and that's not an excuse because the Timberwolves had Dante DiVincenzo get hurt. Ayo Dosunmu got hurt. Their best player in Anthony Edwards got hurt, and they still found a way to close out the Denver Nuggets. And the Magic couldn't quite find a way to do it. I do want to talk Boston, though. I want to talk about these Game 7s because the Boston Celtics taught us a very valuable lesson, not just about the NBA, but about sports in general in this analytical era. I'll get into that in 3 minutes.
The best takes. Maybe. The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Nick Pedone of the Big Play Sports in Cleveland is doing the show coming up here in about 20 minutes. We're going to talk about the Game 7s from over the weekend. But we had a caller during the break. Buzzard, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. I hope you're feeling good after the mini marathon.
My calves are still incredibly sore. I feel a lot better though today than I did yesterday. That's definitely true.
Yeah, I would die if I did what you did on Saturday. But there, all right. So, how much better do we feel, and how much more exciting is it to talk about the Pacers draft when you have somebody like Pritchard making the selection versus, the Colts when you're just like, Balor's going to screw it up and it doesn't really matter. It's just more exciting.
It is more exciting, but there's also like, so you know how I did the big thing on how I think that Ty Simpson is going to be a bust, but then the Rams took him, and now I'm like, oh man, might have gotten that one wrong. That's how I feel about the Pacers. Like I just did that big spiel on how like I wouldn't take Darren Peterson, but now if they take him, I'm gonna be like, gosh dang it, that means I'm wrong, you know?
Well, what's funny is Pritchard hasn't really killed it in the draft. His trades are what has him in this position. So he just does so well with roster management, which leads me to believe he'll get better at selecting the right person. That's just not, you know, a hot mess coming in. So it's just a lot better. I don't know if you remember like the Al Davis, like Raiders, where they just drafted so poorly for so long. I had seen a tweet way back when that said, don't give the Raiders your draft pick. They'll just use it on drugs.
That's hilarious.
And that's how I feel about the Colts. Like, don't get them their draft. It's not going to matter. So.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I do think one of the luxuries that the Pacers have this year is I feel like by giving up the pick, if it's 5 through 9, they're basically telling you like anybody after 4 we don't think is going to make us much better, which means that they already like the roster. I feel like it makes it easier to draft when you already feel like you have a championship roster, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciated what you said too about don't just pick a guy to fit your needs. But I think for some reason, I just think Boozer's like he's already going to be a good player, but I think he fits the added rebounding, outlet passes. He does good running in transition. Even down to his dad knew how to be his dad was not a superstar, but his dad was a sustainable power forward for a long time in the NBA. And that family is uber competitive. And I just think that's an awesome fit for what they need. And he's a good player.
It is. I always like, and I think one of the nice things about the idea of drafting Cam Boozer, I always am a fan of drafting kids of guys who played in the league because they're just going to show up with a better understanding of what's required. And I think that's a really important thing for the Pacers rookie this year, whoever it ends up being, because most rookies are walking into a place where it's like, hey, man, you're going to get 25 shots a night and we're going to try to lose as many games as we can. Whereas this is really unique. They're going to walk into a place where it's like you might get 7 shots. You're probably going to play like 15 minutes off the bench. And you know, Cam Boozer having a dad who we can go to and be like this sucks. And his dad's going to be like, dude, you're competing for a freaking championship. Shut up and move on, man.
Yeah. Well, last thing too. Did you happen to see, I'm a big fan of the Pistons now just by the way they play. I did not think they were going to come back and beat the Magic like they did. Did you have a chance to see that Duncan Robinson ESPN piece?
I did not. He sat down with Malika Andrews, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. I think I missed it. I think I was hanging out with my wife when that happened.
It's a cool one. Oh yeah, no, I shared it on Twitter. It's an awesome story about him, and it just puts superstars like that a little bit more relatable. So I won't give away the story, but it is absolutely awesome with the Pistons. Now it's a very sad story, but it is awesome that he had the courage to speak out about his brother and trouble he's going through. It's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, I will absolutely check that out then. Thanks for the call, Buzzard.
All right, man. Thanks. See ya.
You got it. Shout out, Buzzard. One of the most loyal misfits, calls in every day. And we always appreciate it. So over the weekend, we had Game 7, speaking of the Pistons, and it was awesome. 3 Game 7s over the weekend. One was great. One sucked. One was okay. James Harden, I know Game 7s terrify you, so you can just, turn off your radio for like the next 10 minutes or so. Game 7s ultimately come down to 2 things in the NBA. Your stars have to play well, and your role players they have to make a couple of shots. This has been the truth forever. That will always be the truth. And so because everybody kind of already knows that, I want to talk about something that I think matters significantly more. We are in the analytics era of sports. NFL offenses are throwing the football more than ever because they learned that throwing the ball more usually leads to more points than running the ball does. NBA offenses finally figured out that 3 is worth more than 2. And if you can shoot 40% from 3, that is more points per shot than when you shoot 50% from 2. Here's the issue, though. Analytics are proven over a long course of time. It's the issue with the Boston Celtics approach. Haas, again, earlier in the YouTube chat, was like, hey, Joe Mazzulla sucks. Forget that he somehow earned the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference despite not having his best player all year. But here's kind of the issue with the Celtics approach. In the modern NBA, everybody can shoot unless you play for the Orlando Magic or Detroit Pistons. Over the course of 82 games, it makes sense to take a ton of threes because you're not going to go on an 82-game shooting slump. It's not going to happen. If you have a team that, shot 38% from 3 last year and you bring all those guys back, you're probably going to shoot around 38% from 3 again the following year, right? So over the course of the season, taking all of these three-point shots, it adds up and it leads to a lot of wins. But I'm willing to bet that at some point during that 82-game stretch, you have 7 games where you shoot the ball poorly. Like having a 7-game shooting slump it's not hard to do at all. It happens relatively often in the NBA. And now you enter into the playoffs where defenses are significantly more dialed in compared to the regular season. And it becomes very easy to go on a shooting slump. And that is what happened to the Boston Celtics. They are the most analytically driven offense in the sport. They took 42 threes per game in the regular season. They took 46 threes per game in that series against Philadelphia. Over the course of 82 games, that works because the averages even everything out. Over the course of 82 games, they were significantly better than the Philadelphia 76ers. And when you look at their roster, even without Jason Tatum, it made sense. They had plenty of shooting, and if they couldn't generate a 3, then Jaylen Brown would find a way to make a tough mid-range jumper. That doesn't work in a 7-game series. Do you know what does work in a 7-game series? Jalen Brunson hitting 10 elbow jumpers. Joel Embiid catching the ball at the foul line where he just doesn't seem to miss. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting to his mid-range game. Tyrese Maxey getting to the rim with his speed. Donovan Mitchell getting to the rim. Pascal Siakam on like a mid-post isolation. All of those things work. They're super consistent. And the Celtics ultimately didn't have anything as reliable as that in their series against the 76ers. And the 76ers had 2 guys that they could rely on to consistently get shots that they liked. Tyrese Maxey got to the rim at will. And when Joel Embiid got healthy enough for the series, he scored inside of 12 feet. It felt like every time he touched the basketball. He made it look so incredibly easy. The 3-point shot in the playoffs, it's like checking your luggage at the airport. Most of the time, it's great. You don't have to carry the weight around, and it just meets you at your destination. But in the playoffs, sometimes the airline loses your luggage, and you're stuck in a foreign city with nothing but the clothes on your back. It's where the mid-range game comes into play. A mid-range game, it's like your carry-on. Smaller, a little more work to lug around, right? Not as sexy sometimes. I don't know, maybe I'm just insecure, but like I feel awkward like holding on to like an oversized backpack where it's pretty clear I stuffed like 12 pairs of underwear in there. I don't know, right? It's not as flashy, but you know that you have it. You aren't standing at the carousel of the 3-point line praying for Peyton Pritchard's jumper to show up. You're reaching into your carry-on and pulling out a nice little Joel Embiid foul line jumper. You know you got it every time. This is why the Pacers have been so effective over their recent playoff runs. Sure, they generated some open threes Aaron Nesmith hit a bunch of them against the Knicks. It was fun, but that wasn't their goal. They just ran their offense, and if it created an open three, fantastic. But most of their offense came through getting Pascal Siakam the ball in that mid-post area. And he would find a way to get a shot that the Pacers liked. Pascal Siakam didn't take a mid-range jumper I didn't like during that finals run last year because it's a reliable thing for him. Every time he takes it, you feel good about that possession. And he gets to it so easily, and that is something that you have to have. You have to have something that is just easy for you to go to. Because when you get to the playoffs, defenses are more engaged. There's more confrontations at the rim, so getting layups isn't as easy. Ask the Orlando Magic. The Detroit Pistons, blocked 7,000 shots in that series against Orlando, right? And because teams are more dialed in defensively, their rotations on the perimeter are more crisp, and it becomes a little bit tougher to generate an open three. That is why you have to have someone on your team who can go get you a mid-range jumper. Some call the mid-range jump shot the lost art of the NBA, but I would argue it is the most important thing in playoff basketball. Because of analytics, defenses are all about stopping two things. They want to limit open threes, and they don't want to give up layups. They want you to take that 15-foot mid-range pull-up jumper. Teams are so incredibly willing to give that shot up. Okay? It is the least defended shot in the NBA. And it's why guys who have a mid-range game are so incredibly impactful in the playoffs. It's part of why I would like to see Tyrese Halliburton go to his mid-range jumper a little bit more often than he does. And it's why Pascal Siakam has been so important for the Pacers for the last couple of years in the playoffs. It's why the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to have an excellent chance of winning the NBA Finals again this year. Because anytime they need a bucket, their best player can get 12 feet from the basket and get an easy 2 points. It's why when Victor Wembanyama eventually figures it out, the majority of his points in the playoffs are going to come from the elbow, where he just turns around and shoots a nice little easy 12-footer. It is such an important and such a valuable thing to have. And when you look at Boston, they don't have it, or they didn't in that series. And it is an absolute requirement now to have any sort of chance to go on a playoff run. You have to have someone who can get you an easy shot 12 feet from the basket. And right now, the Boston Celtics don't have it. So cool. You can have all of your three-point shots. That's great for an 82-game stretch. But when things tighten up in the playoffs and the defenses turn the screws a little bit, you have to have a mid-range jumper that you can get to. Speaking of having that, Jaylen Brown going live right after losing Game 7. Chris, did you see this?
I didn't see that. What was it like a?
He went live on Twitch and was talking about the game. He was complaining about Joel Embiid flopping. I'm like, hey man, you just lost Game 7. I don't really want to see your face for the next month.
Like immediately after.
Immediately after.
Wow.
He got home and hopped on his computer and started talking about the game.
Keyboard warrior. Immediately, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Wow.
I just if I lost to Game 7 and I didn't play very well, I would be like, you know what? I'm not talking to anybody for a year.
Yeah, I'd find a rock to crawl under for a few weeks or something at least.
Especially if you're playing in Boston, because people up there are ruthless, man.
Absolutely.
It's not like you're in L.A. where people don't really care. Like you're in Boston where people will crucify you. They have the opportunity to.
Very true.
And so that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But hey man, he's Jaylen Brown. I guess he can do whatever he wants. We had other Game 7s yesterday. We had the late game, Cleveland and Toronto. That series was about as textbook of a series as you'll find. The home team won every game. Nick Pedone from the Big Show in Cleveland. He is set to join the show coming up here at 1:00.
Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket, 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show. Hour number 2 getting underway. Thank you for tuning in. No matter how you're tuning in, YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket. Head over there and subscribe. Maybe you're watching the show on X, _ Jonathan Smith, to follow me there and watch the show there. You can also listen on that Indy Sports Ticket app or 1430 AM. I am now joined by a guy who just does it all, man. On-air talent, social media director, sports reporter, Nick Pedone from Cleveland, who had, a great show yesterday on 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Nick, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, Jonathan? I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well, and I'll be honest, man. I'm glad that your Cavaliers pulled it off yesterday. Didn't know how you would be if they'd lost that Game 7.
No, I didn't know how I was going to be either, to be honest with you. Obviously, the future of Cavaliers basketball as we knew it really was on the line yesterday in that Game 7. So brief sigh of relief for Cavs fans everywhere, and truthfully for the organization itself, as they don't have too long to celebrate, as round 2 against the Detroit Pistons and old friend JB Bickerstaff gets underway tomorrow in Detroit. The Cavs are going to have to win a road game if they want to win this one, as the series moves on to Detroit for round 2.
That's right. I am excited to talk to you about that series, but as soon as you agreed to come on today, there's one question I've been dying to ask you, man. I've never gotten to ask anyone this question before. What is it like going into Game 7, knowing that James Harden is on the team that you're rooting for?
Scary is the word that comes to mind. To be honest with you, though, James Harden has been a pleasant surprise with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think when that trade went down, a lot of people were instantly scared off about the playoff reputation, but also how that playoff reputation came to be. The fact that he had that reputation for being somebody that's kind of, a ball hog offensively, or somebody that gets tunnel vision on the offensive side of the court. James Harden hasn't really been that with the Cavaliers, though. He's been very, playmaker minded on the offensive side of the basketball court. He's done a tremendous job, and it was on display in Game 7, unlocking both bigs. Jared Allen had really a career game in the third quarter where the Cavs needed him to have that kind of performance the most. I think Harden helped elevate throughout the regular season Allen and Mobley to new levels that the Cavs were yet to see. So I was, innately nervous just because of the reputation that James Harden has in the playoffs, particularly in Game 7s. But at the same time, understanding that the Cavs really so far, knock on wood, have not had that negative James Harden experience yet. It's all been pretty positive since that trade that landed Harden in Cleveland in February, right before the Super Bowl.
It has been, again, joined by Nick Pedone, who does a great job covering Cleveland sports. You can hear him on the Big Play Cleveland show. You can hear him on 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. You can hear him all over the place. Yeah, the Harden stuff, just looking at what he did with Zubac in L.A., I kind of figured he'd do a lot of the same stuff for Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And as they're moving on to this next round, they're going to have their hands full with Jalen Duren. And whenever I think about this kind of core for Cleveland, and I think about them in the playoffs, I go back to kind of that first playoff. I believe it was their first playoff run. They played the Knicks, and Mitchell Robinson just gave them all sorts of trouble. With that being said, Jalen Duren has not been very good in these playoffs. How do you kind of see the front courts there kind of measuring up in that series?
Yeah, the Cavs need Jared Allen to be the Jared Allen that he was last night. It's that simple. You mentioned Mitchell Robinson in the first playoff, run of the Donovan Mitchell era, and the fits that he gave Allen and Mobley both. Well, then I'll take you to the second postseason run of the Donovan Mitchell era, and it was the Wagner brothers with the Orlando Magic that were too much for the Cavs to handle, and it took the Cavs a rock fight 7-game series similar to what we just wrapped up against the Raptors for the Cavaliers to discard of the Orlando Magic those years ago. And then, Jared Allen was injured and unable to go, during Cleveland's postseason exit against the Boston Celtics, and then had some injuries that popped up last year against the Indiana Pacers. And that brings us to right now, present day, where he's finally healthy. And it feels like he's finally healthy with a head coach that he's got familiarity with. Kenny Atkinson has coached Jared Allen since their time together in Brooklyn with the Nets, a point guard that has really unlocked his play to the next level. Like, I think Jared Allen is playing with maybe a belief in himself and in this team that he might not have had in previous postseason runs for the Cavaliers. But this next test is going to be a big one, because Jalen Duren, even though he hasn't had a tremendous postseason so far, and it was a rough 7 games for him against the Orlando Magic in round 1, this is somebody that really ascended under JB Bickerstaff this season. He played at an all-star level all year, and it's somebody who wants to play with physicality. And we know that's the word that sometimes scares off these Cavaliers, but the Cavs were more physical than Toronto in Game 7, and that's ultimately what had the Cavs come out of that game victorious. So they need to keep that same exact mentality going into this next series against Detroit. If Allen could somehow find a way to be physical and mix things up down low with Jalen Duren, the Cavs will be a lot better positioned to escape round 2 and head to their first Eastern Conference Finals without LeBron James in quite some time.
Joined by Nick Pedone, who does a great job covering Cleveland sports. You can follow him on X at Nick Pedone 12. So you mentioned the Magic and kind of their physicality in that first series against Detroit. Watching that, just absolutely insane series. Obviously, the Pistons coming back down from 3-1 and winning in a very convincing fashion in Game 7. Is there anything that you saw in that series that makes you nervous outside of the physicality that Detroit plays with? And is there anything that you saw that you kind of feel like Cleveland can exploit in this second round series against the Pistons?
Well, I do think the one big thing outside of the physicality is the fact that now the Pistons have belief. I remember, after the Cavs won Game 5 of the 2016 NBA Finals, and Game 6 was getting ready to come back to Cleveland, and the Warriors had that 3-1 lead, but it was then 3-2. There was almost a little bit of belief, on Cleveland's side that was like, we've got them right where we want them. Even though you had a 73-9 basketball team with the first ever unanimous MVP in Stephen Curry, like, it really felt like the Cavs had belief because they won that Game 5 that they could finish this series and win it in 7. I think the Pistons got to have that same belief because they just finished the job. They came back from down 3-1 against a respectable Magic team, even though Detroit was the 1 and they were the 8. I don't think anybody had that going 7, but it did, and Detroit won and won Game 7 convincingly. So they've definitely got a belief in themselves right now, the same way that the Cavaliers probably are believing that they can handle business in round 2. I think an area that the Cavs can exploit, though, in this series is they know JB Bickerstaff. JB Bickerstaff, Detroit's head coach, was the coach of the Cavs for the first couple of years here in the Donovan Mitchell era, and even before Donovan arrived in Evan Mobley's first, couple of years in the league, Bickerstaff was the lead man. And Bickerstaff, to his credit, he knows how to get these young, underperforming franchises completely turned around. But when it comes to best of 7 series during his time with the Cavs, and I saw this come up at times during the Orlando Magic, there's just not enough offensive adjustments from JB. So I definitely think that the Cavaliers can utilize their shooting. Harden, Mitchell, these guys are going to have to be better against the Magic because the Pistons are not a great shooting team. The Raptors shot the basketball a lot better than people expected through 6 games. If the Cavs could buckle up a little bit more defensively early in this series and find a way to knock down shots on the road in Detroit, the Cavs should be positioned okay to get through the Detroit Pistons.
They should be. I mean, I like Cleveland to win the series just because they have more guys who can create offense that I trust compared to Detroit. Like with, you watch the series. Cade Cunningham did everything for the Pistons. Whereas with Cleveland, you have multiple guys who can kind of share the load between Harden and Mitchell. If Dennis Schroeder needs to kind of shoulder the load offensively for like a 3-minute stretch, He can do that. Detroit doesn't really have anybody. I know they've got Dennis Jenkins, but like it's really his first year in like playing heavy minutes, and he wasn't very good in that Orlando series. And so I like Cleveland to advance, and the Eastern Conference as a whole is just it's so fascinating because the Pistons are talking themselves into a scenario where they're good enough to win the East, and Cleveland's doing the same thing, and so is New York, and so is Philly, and it's just a complete and total crapshoot for who's going to come out of the East. Who do you like to come out of the East with the 4 teams left?
It's never felt this wide open, right? And I think there were a lot of Cavalier fans that felt that way last postseason until we ran into your Indiana Pacers, who reminded us that all of these teams this time of year are pretty good. And the Pacers turned that series into a track meet against the Cavs. The Cavs could not hang in transition, and your Pacers were able to make quick work. Gentleman's sweep, 5 games. And that was it for the Cavs in the second round. So the Cavs definitely are going to have to get that monkey off of their back in this series. They've got to get through the second round. It's something that's continued to follow Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, the lack of playoff success is something that follows James Harden. It's against JB Bickerstaff, who is a coach that was fired because of his lack of playoff success. So everybody is trying to get out of this second round. Cleveland and Detroit. I really think that this Eastern Conference comes down between the Cavs and the Knicks. I think they're the most 2 talented teams remaining. I'll be honest, I didn't have the Boston Celtics kind of collapsing in Game 7 the way that they did. I thought Boston and Cleveland were the 2 classes of the Eastern Conference, especially when both teams get everything figured out. I'll tell you this, though, Jonathan, like the Cavs didn't have everything figured out through 6.5 games against the Toronto Raptors. It really took until the third quarter yesterday where it finally felt like the Cavs became the Cavs. Even in games 1 and 2 against Toronto, when they were up 2-0, it just felt a little bit hollow. And then it certainly felt hollow in games 3 and 4 when the Raptors were able to even this series. So I don't think the Knicks are in for a walk in the park, especially if Embiid is playing and motivated the way that he seems to be. And I don't think the Cavs or Pistons are in for a walk in the park either. These Eastern Conference playoffs have been a treat, but it truly does feel that wide open. So if the Cavs could just finally put everything together, they should be positioned to be the last team standing and heading towards an NBA Finals.
Joined by Nick Pedone. You can follow him on X at Nick Pedone12. He does a great job covering the Cavaliers and the Browns and everything else going on in Cleveland sports. So you mentioned how it felt like it took 6.5 games worth for Cleveland to figure it out. How much of that is on the players, and how much of that is a Kenny Atkinson thing?
I think it's got to be split a little bit when you're carving up the blame pie here, just because the Cavs players on the road in Toronto were dreadful shooting the 3-point basketball, and that was supposed to be their advantage against Toronto. And we're anticipating that should be Cleveland's advantage against Detroit, is the fact that the Cavs just have more offense than the Pistons do. But you need to knock down shots, especially on the road. Kenny Atkinson definitely came under fire a little bit just because this was a series that a lot of Cavs fans thought should have been wrapped up in quick order. I'll admit, I thought the Raptors gave the Cavs way more of an issue than what I had anticipated going into this series. And there were some interesting things that unfolded with the lineup decisions, and even Game 6 with Evan Mobley taking that final shot. I think Kenny Atkinson's taken a good share of blame in this series, but as long as he's, assembling the best rotation of the best shooting weapons that can be possible for the Cavs, I think that's really all you can do as a head coach in the NBA, on top of making sure your guys are prepared with the game plan. But I really think this series is going to come down to, can Donovan Mitchell have a much better series than what he had in the first round? And can James Harden really play that quote-unquote Robin to Donovan Mitchell's Batman role? Because that's why he was, traded for at the deadline when the Cavs decided to get 10 years older, swapping Garland for Harden. It was to go in and try to make some noise and get to the finals this season. They've certainly got an opportunity to do so because they should have way more offense than what the Pistons can offer.
Yeah, they certainly do have a lot more offense. And, I mean, the idea of betting on James Harden, I'm just never going to be a fan of. But at the same time, like the move made sense because they've invested a lot in this core. And as much as I love Darius Garland, his inability to stay healthy during this time of the year, it's even worse, I think, to bet on that. So who do you think comes out of the West? Because it feels like we're on this collision course for a Thunder and Spurs Western Conference Finals. But and that series is going to be awesome. Who do you like to come out of the West?
I'm with you. I think we get a Thunder Spurs conference finals, and then in that realm, like it's just so hard to pick against the team that just won the championship last year because they're tested, they've proven that they can. So I definitely think I like Oklahoma City to come out of the West again. It feels crazy to say because it feels like they haven't been as dominant this year as they were last year, but the way that their playoff opponents are falling for them, I would love as a Cleveland guy to pick LeBron James to have one more miracle in him and to have the Lakers upset OKC in round one. I think maybe that'll be an exciting series. I just don't know that the Lakers have enough. And then Wemby v OKC. Wemby's only 22. He's going to be the face of this league for a very long time. It's just probably not his time quite yet. The supporting cast around him might still be too young and inexperienced. So for now, out of the West, I'll take the team that's been there, done that, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's how I feel about it. Looking into it before the playoffs, because there are a lot of like the Spurs kind of felt like the trendy pick, but when you looked at the Spurs, like 6 of their top 7 scorers had never played in a playoff game before, and like that matters at least a little bit. So I'm with you on that. Last thing for you, Nick, and I will let you go. Earlier in the show, I was talking about game 7s, and I was really kind of talking about how we're kind of in this analytical era of sports and how you really see that with the Boston Celtics. I think they're the most analytically driven offense in the NBA. And, like over the course of 82 games, averages kind of play out. And if you have a bunch of guys who can shoot and you shoot a lot of threes, like you're just naturally going to win a lot of games like Boston does. But, the law of averages kind of gets thrown out of the window in a 7-game series. At least that's kind of what happened with Boston. And so you have to have something that is incredibly reliable to go to. Like for the Thunder, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the mid-range. For, the Knicks, it's Jalen Brunson getting to the elbow. And for the Cavs, like it's Donovan Mitchell. I don't know what it's probably Donovan Mitchell going to the rim. But of kind of all of those options of like, we need a bucket that's reliable, who do you think is the guy in the playoffs that you kind of trust the most when their offense kind of gets bogged down to find a way to score?
I would love to tell you Donovan Mitchell just because Donovan's been a treat since that trade that landed him with the Cavaliers in 2022. He single-handedly, prior to the James Harden trade, has won the Cavs pretty much every postseason series that they've won to date has been on Donovan's shoulders. But he no-showed, to be honest with you, Jonathan. I do not think against the Toronto Raptors. It really was the others. It was Jared Allen in Game 7. It was Schroeder in Game 5 that were able to power the Cavs against the Raptors. So as much as I would like to say Donovan, I don't know that I can. I think I'm going to give you SGA, man. I think I'm going to give you the reigning MVP as long as he's got that title for at least a couple more weeks here. I think he's to be trusted the most, especially in that mid-range game. He could hit him from downtown as well or going to the basket. I think just in those big moments to have a reigning MVP, to have somebody who's a reigning NBA champion, and probably, I think right now, the OKC odds-on favorite to win another championship. I think if I had to put money on the player that I trust the most right now, I think it would be SGA.
Yeah, it probably has to be. I'm glad that you brought up Donovan Mitchell because this is the first playoff series, even going back to his time in Utah, where he has not met the expectation I've had for him. Usually he exceeds it. I think he's one of the best. That might be a little hyperbolic. He is certainly one of the better playoff performing superstars in the NBA. And part of why I'm pulling for Cleveland is a guy who consistently shows up in the playoffs like Donovan Mitchell. For him to not have a conference finals on his resume yet feels misleading. And so I'm pulling for Cleveland, even though I do really like this Pistons team as well.
And Jonathan, I'll leave you with this. He was one of the, I don't want to say driving factors behind the coaching change when the Cavs decided to move on from Bickerstaff and hire Kenny Atkinson. But everybody knew, like, Donovan was doing everything that Donovan could humanly do. He was superhuman. He was giving you 30, 40-point nights consistently, and the Cavs just weren't able to advance. So it was like you needed to get a coach that could unlock Donovan to a new level and unlock the rest of these role players to a new level. And they, decided to part ways with JB and bring in Kenny Atkinson. So I hope Donovan enters this round 2 series against the Pistons with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder of his own, just knowing that he didn't have the best first round series against Toronto. You said it, just fell short of expectations. He was still good. Donovan Mitchell we're talking about. Like, he was still good. It just fell a little bit flat of expectations, where hopefully against his old head coach, the guy that kind of couldn't figure how to use him offensively, I hope Donovan just comes with a little bit more juice into round 2 and really powers the Cavs through maybe a little bit easier of a second round series for us.
I hope so. Nick, thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll talk to you again here in about 2 weeks whenever the Cavs advance, all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for your time, man. All right, that is Nick Pedone. You can follow him on X at Nick Pedone12. Does a great job covering all things Cleveland sports. You can catch him on the Big Cleveland Show. He's on Dogs Daily. He hosts a show on 92.3 The Fan. Does an excellent job out there in Cleveland. And we do an excellent job here on this show, especially on Mondays, because we do JonathIN, JonathOUT. We're bringing that your way in about 3 minutes. And here in about 40 minutes, we're playing a game. Tickets to Holiday World on the line. We've got some Game 7 trivia, some questions that I went out there and created myself. We will explain the game more at 2 o'clock when we play it, but coming back in 3 minutes, we will do JonathIN, JonathOUT.
If it's in today's sports world, it's here. The real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thanks to Nick Pedone for joining me in that last segment to talk about some of the Game 7s from over the weekend. We got playoff games resuming tonight. Timberwolves and Spurs, 76ers and Knicks. Can't wait. I'm a little upset that they're not staggering them. Like there's only two games. There's an East Coast game and there's a West Coast game. The East Coast game should start at 7, and the West Coast game should start at 9:30. Why we're having them overlap is just incredibly dumb. Anyway, time for a little JonathIN, the thing we do every Monday.
Bottom line, are you in or are you out?
What are you talking? In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out.
Okay, well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Okay, then why would you ask me?
Because I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob, and we would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
Still a great segment right there.
It's so good.
It makes me laugh
That
every
movie's
time.
so funny. It's awesome.
Tell the people what movie that's from.
Central Intelligence.
There you go.
Great movie.
All right, JonathOUT Monday's edition, Monday, May 4th edition of JonathOUT. The first one we have, Kentucky Derby fashion, the clothing, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? You in or out on dressing up for the Kentucky Derby?
Totally out. I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe there's a dress code or something. I don't know. I want to go to the Kentucky Derby in sweatpants and a hoodie.
I heard that.
And see what everybody else does. I want to show up like I'm Adam Sandler. I want to look like I'm wearing clothes from when I was 7 years old that I never threw away.
So specific.
I want to do that so badly, just to see how everybody else reacts. John Buzzer said that the clothing makes it fun. I don't know. Could you imagine, like, you paid all this money to go to the Kentucky Derby, and some lady in some obnoxiously oversized hat sits in front of you and you can't see because she has some ridiculous hat on? That would just upset me.
I would agree with that. 110%. Next one, JonathOUT on the Game 7s this weekend. Past weekend.
We'll go in. You know, the Pistons and Magic game was not great, but that's okay. My guy Paulo still played well, just no one else for Orlando that decided to show up. The 76ers in Boston and Celtics game was awesome. Like, that game was back and forth. You had big shots late. You had stars really showing up, kind of pulling their weight. So that game was really enjoyable. And then, you know, Toronto and Cleveland, you just kind of knew that Cleveland was going to pull away. Toronto just didn't have the horses. No pun intended there. And so like that one kind of went how I thought it would. You know, they hung in for the first half, but the second half they just didn't have the talent to hold serve.
Fair enough. JonathOUT on the Indy Mini. I think I know the answer to this, but go ahead and encourage.
I'm in this year. Probably out next year. I do think everyone should do it once just to run around the track. Like, as someone who has never been to the Indy 500 and can't go this year, it was such a cool experience. Okay, now getting into the track was terrible because you run like straight downhill and then you run straight uphill, and that's not fun. But like, once you're in there and you just like, you see the stands and you're on the asphalt, it is just such a unique thing. So in just for that experience, getting to kiss the bricks is really cool as well. So I would say I'm in.
Very good. JonathOUT on playing playing slow pitch softball after running in the Indy Mini.
Okay. This was the best part of my weekend.
Okay.
So I had a conversation. So for those who don't know, I went to a bachelor party directly after the Indy Mini where we played sports all afternoon. So one of my best friends, he's getting married on May 24th. And after we were done kind of playing all these sports, we had this conversation where we talked about, like, there are some guys who go on to play like Division II and Division III sports where you see them like after they've graduated college and you're like, you're just like me, man. Like you probably just like knew somebody and that's why you got to play in college. And then there's other guys that you see after college that play Division II or Division III
Booty
sports.
cheeks.
Mike is playing around with the thing here.
Okay. Like, Mike, what's that for? And then there's other guys after college that like you go play with them. You're like, holy crap. I never could have played Division II or Division III. And so that perfectly, I think, encapsulated how I felt going into this slow pitch softball game. Where I was like, I need these guys to know that like I didn't just get to play college for some random reason. Like I needed them to know that I was really good back in the day. And so I had, like I said, that was the best part of my day on Saturday. I had so much fun.
That was
So
the bachelor party.
Yeah.
Sports.
Yes.
Very good. It says Jonathan Smith all over it.
It does. It does.
Very good. JonathIN, JonathOUT on the NL Central being the best division in baseball.
I'm in. Only division in baseball with 3 teams that have 20 or more wins. I mean, the Reds are rolling right now. The Cubs are playing pretty well. The Pirates are, surprisingly good this year. Obviously, calling up the number 1 prospect in baseball. You've got Paul Skeens. Like they're a really good team as well. The NL Central's rolling this year.
Okay. Very good. As always, I add a few of my own questions because I like to pick your brain. We're still getting to learn each other a little bit. So JonathIN, JonathOUT on the UFL. And I just got to say, yesterday while I was kind of hanging out, I found myself watching, towards the end, the Birmingham versus Orlando. I couldn't tell you what their teams are, but are we in or out on watching the UFL until the NFL season picks back up?
I'm out on watching it, but I think it's a good thing. So I'm out on watching it because when the NFL season rolls around, it's all I do. And I love football. Like, Saturday, like Friday nights now, like you have Big 10 games in the fall. And then obviously all day Saturday, you've got big college football games. And then Sunday, you have all your NFL games. Then you got Monday Night Football. And then you have Tuesday and Wednesday off. And then you have Thursday Night Football. And then you're rolling again. And so by the time the UFL rolls around, I'm less like I'm all footballed out. But I do think it's a good thing because, there are guys like the Jesse Bates, kicker for the Lions, got his start in the UFL. There are different guys who make the leap every year from the UFL to the NFL. And so from that perspective, I think it's a really good thing.
Sure. There were a few recognizable names in there. I don't remember them at the moment, but yeah, that's not something I was crazy about admitting, watching the UFL yesterday and seeing 20 people in the stands. But hey, man, it's each their own. Anyway, JonathIN, JonathOUT on cruises. You ever been on a cruise ship?
Dude, I went on my first cruise last summer. Totally in. They're the best. I freaking, like, my wife and I are not going on a prolonged summer vacation this year. We're going on a trip with her family. And when this came up, Amelia and I were immediately like, we should all go on a cruise because there's always something to do. If you want to do nothing, you can, but like there's always something going on to go and be a part of. You can watch people sing karaoke,
yeah,
which is a lot of fun. You can play pickleball on the pool deck. You can go sit in the pool. It is the best vacation it's the best vacation I've been on as an adult.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I would probably have to say JonathOUT just because of
Really?
the seasickness and
Man, I got seasick one day. We brought those little patches that you can put behind your ears.
right.
Put them on and I was fine the rest of the way.
I'm sure you saw the story about the Hanta virus or whatever over the weekend.
Huh.
Yeah, some rats or some kind of virus going wild on this cruise ship over the weekend, taking out 3 people. Stuff like that. I'm just like, no, I'm good.
That's
Because that's how
nuts.
coronavirus got over here, right?
Bats, but yeah.
Okay. Well, still gonna be JonathOUT on that. Last one I have for you today because we know, it's a busy week as far as we May the 4th, we got Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, but Mother's Day coming up on Sunday, and some people look at it as a Hallmark holiday. Like, are you in or out, JonathIN, JonathOUT, on Hallmark holidays? like Mother's Day?
My mom is listening right now.
Hi, Jonathan's mom.
She commented in the YouTube chat, so I think I have to. I'm in.
You better be in.
I'm absolutely in. Now, I mean, like, look, I'll just be honest. Like, I won Mother's Day this year already.
Sure.
My mom has been begging me and my 3 siblings to run with her for forever. I am the first one to do it, to run a half marathon with her. And so I automatically win. With that being said, I saw this card over the weekend. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, half brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Are you the oldest?
I'm kind of in the middle.
Okay, good. That means I can say this and you won't be offended.
Sure.
I saw this card where it said, everyone messes up the first time. Happy Mother's Day from your second born. I was like, I should have gotten her that.
Clever.
But, yeah, really clever. Really clever. And so, yeah, I'm in. I love my mom. She's the best,
Good, good. There's nothing wrong with being in or out of the Hallmark holidays. I'm probably out on it because I'm the type that
You don't like
believes.
Christmas?
No, that's not a Hallmark holiday. I'm talking about, like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, stuff that's like Hallmark, like we need to sell our cards and here's special
That's
gifts.
what you mean, not Hallmark movies.
Right.
Because Hallmark movies are like, that's a Christmas thing. Okay, but yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
That's kind of
So
like.
you're anti big card.
Yeah, in a sense, it's just something that I believe that you should show mom love every day, not just one particular day of the year. Same
That's
goes
right.
with Valentine's Day. You don't need a specific day to buy somebody flowers or a card or whatever.
That's fair.
That's what I meant by Hallmark holiday. But you should always say that you love mom.
I do.
Very good.
I do love my mom.
Well
She knows
done.
that. She knows that. So, all right, that was a good one.
I love my mom too, by the way.
I'm glad you said that. That's good to hear. I'm glad. Would you consider yourself a mama's boy?
Absolutely. Because I don't know, dad wasn't around, I guess, like single child, it was mom and all the ladies in my family that went along with it, grandma, aunts, cousins, all females. So mama's
Okay.
boy. Sure.
Okay. I don't know if I would consider myself one or not. We'll get an appeal. Mom, I know you're listening. Would you consider me a mama's boy? I would probably say yes. I don't know why I would say yes. I don't know. I love my mom. That's all there is to it.
There you go.
I guess. So, all right. A little bit of JonathOUT for you on a Monday. We have also got Holiday World tickets that we are giving away. We're doing some Game 7 NBA trivia. So if you think you know a lot about the history of Game 7s in the NBA, get ready to call 317-228-1430 here in about 20 minutes or so. We have the NBA Draft Lottery coming up on Sunday, the second most important thing about Sunday after Mother's Day. And as we count down to the NBA Draft Lottery, we've been getting a takeoff every day on a scale of 1 to 7. And we've already done 7 and 3. So we've got 5 numbers left to go. And we will do another one of those takes in about 3 minutes.
It may, one day, be a must-listen for sports enthusiasts.
Yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Uh-oh.
The Real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thanks for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, X, the Indy Sports Ticket app, 1430 AM. It is greatly appreciated, no matter how you are tuning in. Coming up here in about 20 minutes, we are playing a little bit of trivia for your chance to win tickets to Holiday World. 317-228-1430 is the number for when that time rolls around. But right now, though, we have the NBA Draft Lottery very quickly approaching. And as always, as we continue our countdown to the NBA Draft Lottery, we draw a random number. We have a take corresponding with that number. Do we have the sounder right now for it? Or are we fixing that? No sounder. That's okay. We don't need it. We'll do old school radio. Mike, if you could do me a favor and do like a lottery sound on your own. That's perfect. I mean, that was a I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I don't think I could do much better than that. Today we rolled the number 2. So for those of you who've missed this on previous shows, basically we took a scale between the numbers of 1 and 7 because the Indiana Pacers are going to draw anywhere between the first pick in the NBA draft or the 7th. Obviously, if it's picks 5, 6, or 7, it goes to the Clippers. 1 through 4, the Pacers keep. So in honor of the lottery quickly approaching, we have takes on a scale of 1 to 7, things that I like on a scale of 1 to 7. Today, we drew the number 2, and I hate commercials in winning time on these broadcasts. There is nothing worse than a team being down by, 2 with, 4 seconds left to go. They're running the field goal unit out onto the field to attempt a 47-yard game-winning field goal. And CBS or Fox or whoever has the game decides to take 3 minutes to show you some commercials about, erectile dysfunction pills and car insurance and all that other nonsense. Okay, like I just want to watch the game. I want to see how it pans out. Like when Daniel Jones is about to potentially lead the Colts down the field to make the playoffs for the first time in 6 years, I want to watch that immediately. I don't want to wait 3 minutes to watch all these commercials about products that I don't need. I think it's one of the most annoying things that happens in sports. On a scale of 1 to 7, I like it at 2. So that is why it is our number 2 today as we continue to count down towards the NBA Draft Lottery coming up on Sunday, the second most important thing happening that day after Mother's Day. We had something really important happen today. Stephen Holder reporting earlier today that Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson reported for voluntary offseason workouts after staying home the last 2 weeks, working out with his trainer in Jacksonville. So Colts aren't anywhere closer to trading him. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, even though Anthony Richardson requested to be traded. There's also no indication that they're going to release him. So he's back right now for the time being. Now, this is what should have already happened. It's kind of insane that he didn't show up 2 weeks ago. He wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't going to happen, right? There were too many average quarterbacks in this draft class that I think everybody else wanted, to be willing to give up a 6th-round pick for Anthony Richardson. And they shouldn't want the guy. I mean, like, dude's done nothing. You can't walk into the league, complete 58% of your passes, and then expect for people to be clamoring for you. Like, you got to show some ability to play the position, and he hasn't done that. And so until he does, he's going to continue to be stuck here in Indianapolis. The best thing for him is to do what he's doing right now. Come into camp, talk to your agent, have him, go to different reporters and say, oh, man, Anthony's having a great camp. Anthony Richardson's come back a new man. And then go play really well in the preseason because you know he's going to get to play during the preseason. If Daniel Jones isn't ready to go week 1, then there's a decent chance that you're going to see him play week 1, him or Riley Leonard. Now, obviously, if you get beat out by Riley Leonard, then good luck getting out of Indianapolis. But if you do beat out Riley Leonard and you do get to play a little bit week 1, or maybe, Daniel Jones gets hurt, that's 1,000% in the cards when you look through his career, and you have the opportunity to play for like 3 or 4 games, and you go 2-2, then congratulations, Anthony. You have now taken your trade value, which is at a whopping 0, and you've elevated it to a point where maybe a team is willing to take a chance on you. Maybe the Cardinals bring in Carson Beck. They say, man, what a waste of a draft pick. We really should have listened to the real JonathIN Smith show, who told us that this was going to be dumb. And then from there, you can kind of move on and, maybe you bring in Anthony Richardson or, whoever else it winds up being. So we'll see how it goes. But this is 1,000% the right move for Anthony Richardson. Go to camp, work your butt off, play really well, and then kind of see how things progress from there. Okay, so I'm glad that the second-string quarterback on the Colts roster volunteered to show up to voluntary workouts. Hallelujah. Chris, I mean, this seems like the easiest thing ever. Like, just show up to this.
That's all you got to do.
I mean,
just be there.
Seriously. I mean, Daniel Jones is going to be there. He's going to take a lot of the reps and do all those things. Just, show up. Look pretty. Don't do anything dumb. Maybe the Browns will call and say, hey, we would like to add a 10th quarterback to our roster. We'll send you a 6th-round pick for Anthony Richardson.
And I think that'd be generous, too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see him going anywhere, or nobody is going to trade for him. To be honest, I kind of see him going to the UFL.
That'd be awesome. That'd be incredible. That would be...
He'd probably be the best player in there.
He'd be the most athletic.
For sure.
If the UFL held a dunk contest, Anthony Richardson would probably win it. I mean, he's just, there's just so much more to playing quarterback than how a guy moves and how far he can throw the football. I mean, we saw Phillip Rivers come out of retirement. That dude had been retired for almost 5 years. And he showed up and played really well. Even though whenever he threw, every time he threw the football, I thought he was hurt. Like, it looked like it caused him pain to throw the football. And yet he was a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson ever could have been last year. Because so much of it is about what's between the ears, knowing what the defense is going to do, putting in the time in the film room, leading up to the game, understanding how the opposing defense works, understanding the counters within your offense for how the opposing defense works. And when you watch Anthony Richardson, it doesn't feel like he understands any of that. And there's a part of me that gets it, because when you're that gifted growing up, you don't have to know all those things. It's like, yeah, they might be blitzing here. They might not be. But, if they do blitz, like I'm 6'4", I run a 4.4 40, and I weigh 250 pounds, like I'm just going to break the tackle and then find someone open. And then all of a sudden a 6'3", 260-pound edge rusher hits you. And it's like, oh, that feels a little bit different. And then you hit the ground and you're like, oh, I think I just cracked my ribs. And then you don't play for a month. Like that is the Anthony Richardson story. There's one quarterback in the NFL who's brilliant, and I'm not saying that he's not, who can get away with like failing to slide the offensive line to pick up a blitz. It's Josh Allen. He's the only one. And everybody else outside of that, though, if you're going to survive, like you have to be able to slide protections and hit your hot reads and do all those things. And that is just, it's the same thing that we've said about Anthony Richardson ever since he got here. He's not good enough at the easy things. He makes the easy things look hard, and he makes the hard things look easy. And your teams in the NFL aren't going to want you if that's the case. And that is what has happened to him. And I'm fascinated to see kind of what his season looks like here in Indianapolis because, I mean, Daniel Jones has a history of getting hurt. I don't think that the Colts mind having, Riley back there, but I don't know. I'm just so intrigued to kind of see what winds up happening with him because like he is really talented and that's not going to change. But he's a little immature. I do think that it's a sign of maturity him showing up to practice. Let's turn that hat around and we'll really be cooking. But he's, like he's also young. Like I'm sure that he's going to continue to grow up. The issue is you're not going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL if you're in the process of growing up. Like you have to be able to walk up to the podium day one and sound like Fernando Mendoza did. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but the Indiana football team from last year, they're going to the White House here at some point because that's what you do whenever you win a championship. And someone asked Fernando Mendoza if he was going to go. And he was like, I am at the bottom of the totem pole. If they are visiting the White House on a day where we have practice, I will be at practice. Like you have to have that in you from the moment that you show up in the NFL, or you wind up like Kyler Murray, who didn't win very many games. He was too busy playing Call of Duty. You wind up like Baker Mayfield, who was like okay in Cleveland for a little bit, but ultimately fell off. He moves down to Tampa, gets serious about his game, and all of a sudden, he's like a borderline Pro Bowler every year. So you have to show up mature and ready to go. I don't think that Anthony Richardson did that. That's why he's in this predicament that he's in now. And now, he's got to rehabilitate his image a little bit. And I think that showing up to voluntary minicamp is the best way to kind of start that.
Well, we know that he's not going to the Packers because that's another option that he could have had. However, just announced that the Packers are signing Tyrod Taylor.
Oh.
So there's one less spot for Anthony Richardson to go to.
Good for Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
Not a bad backup. But here's the thing. Like if you're the teams that are looking at, it makes sense for the Packers to take Tyrod Taylor because if Jordan Love gets hurt and is going to miss 3 weeks, Tyrod Taylor is good enough to go 2-1 depending on who the opponents are. And that can be the difference between making the playoffs or not. Anthony Richardson is not to that point. Like if Anthony Richardson has to start 3 games for the Colts this year, the Colts are probably going to go 0-3 in those 3 games. And those are the kind of guys that go to like Carolina or Cleveland, teams that aren't going to be super competitive this year. Buzzard chiming in saying Richardson doesn't seem competitive. He doesn't. He seems very okay with being average, and that doesn't work in highly competitive professions like the NFL.
So that's kind of like the position he's in now. The Colts are basically like, you don't have to be here. You can if you want to. So this has probably created that non-competitive mindset for Richardson too.
Yeah, he's just, but even coming out of Florida, like he just seemed, I don't know. I don't like nonchalant in my quarterbacks. Like Peyton Manning was super precise about everything. So was Tom Brady. So was Phillip Rivers. Like being all loosey-goosey as a quarterback, trying to lead a team doesn't really work. So maybe it's just a personality thing with Anthony Richardson. But at some point, like you can't just be so nonchalant about everything. You have to start taking things seriously. And maybe that's happened for him. Maybe that's why he's showing up to voluntary, because I highly doubt that it's voluntary workouts. So we'll see what he ends up doing. But right now, pull out your phone, 317-228-1430. That is the number. Call in for your chance to win a pair of tickets to Holiday World. Love that place. The summer is coming up. School's almost out. You need something to do with your kids this summer. Take them down to Holiday World. 317-228-1430 for your chance to do some trivia, for your chance to win some tickets to Holiday World. If you want to look and feel your best this summer, Indiana Medical Center is your solution. They're a leading medical spa offering transformative, non-surgical treatments. This Friday at 9 a.m., go to indiesportsticket.com and click on that Sweet Deals tab to get any body sculpting, skin tightening, or facial rejuvenation, a $399 treatment for only $149.
Do this. It's the real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket, 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Hour number 3 of the real Jonathan Smith Show is getting underway here on Indy Sports Ticket. Thank you for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indy Sports Ticket, If you want to head over there and subscribe, maybe you're watching the show on X__Jonathan Smith to follow me there and watch the show there. You can also listen on that Indy Sports Ticket app or 14:30 a.m. if you're driving around the Indianapolis area. So many ways to listen. Really no excuse not to. It is 2 o'clock. We are waiting on callers, 317-228-1430 for your chance to win some tickets to Holiday World. We got Ross on the line, who's already won like 6 different tickets to Holiday World, so we can't really give him any more. Ross, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, that was last year. I've only won 4 this year.
Okay,
So.
gotcha.
But hey, well, all 6 of us had a great time. So yeah, definitely. I don't know why nobody called in so far, but definitely go. It's worth the trip, no matter how far you're coming from. So, just wanted to touch on some of the draft stuff you were talking about earlier. I've said obviously you take DeBanza if we get the number 1 pick, presuming he would go number 1. I think that's the guy for sure. But I really like Boozer just because of his productivity, his pedigree, like you mentioned, he can do more than just score. He has good game awareness, especially I think they played saw a couple of his games, but particularly that game, I think it was like a national TV game, Michigan and Duke.
Yeah.
Like one of them was number 1, one was like number 3 or something. But yeah, he just was relentless, passing, rebounding. He seems like he can do it all. I think he could be like the Pacers' Draymond Green without being a total nut kind of guy,
Yeah.
kind of in that role of, like a difference maker and that kind of stuff. So, we definitely have to get the pick first, but yeah, I think that, Peterson would be kind of a project. I think you kind of, to me, it seems like he would be pretty similar to what Matherin gave you. So I don't know what you're kind of replacing one with the other. He has a higher ceiling probably and all that. So, but yeah, that would be my pick if we didn't get DeBanza.
Yeah, my thing with Peterson, even comparing him to Matherin, like Matherin could like really rebound. And like that's something Peterson didn't really do. He's not as big. I don't think he's as good of a defender. I just feel like the only thing he does is score. And someone hit the text line earlier, and I missed it. But he basically said that whoever sent the text basically said that Boozer doesn't do anything elite. And I think just hearing the way other people have kind of talked about the draft, I think people are treating Cam Boozer like he's like this consolation prize if you get the 3rd pick. I don't think that's true at all. Like he shot 39% from 3. Like he's got really good touch around the rim. I think he's got really good strength. Like he's a good passer. He's probably a little limited defensively just because he's not a freak athlete, but I don't know, like Halliburton is limited defensively, but because he's so smart, like he's just always in the right spot. And I think Jokic is the same way. And like when you're in the right spot and you're 6'8", 230 pounds, like you're gonna find a way to get some stops. And so
we don't
go ahead. Sorry.
We don't necessarily need, like a team like the Kings or the Nets, or they're looking for their guy to turn their franchise around. And I think we're in the fortunate spot that we don't have to find our next, our quarterback. Like Mendoza just went to the Raiders, whatever, like they're a quarterback, away from turning things around. We already have our good foundation and winning culture and whatever. And I think Boozer already kind of has that. And so it's like, you could say the same about Carlos. Like he was never the guy on any team, but he was like a multiple time all-star and great role player and could put 20 and 10 and whatever. So I think he could definitely bring that as well, but we don't need a guy to come in and just be the LeBron or whatever. But obviously if DeBanza is there, I think he's got the most potential to do that while being kind of ready-made and is kind of a dog and really brings it, all that kind of stuff. And you didn't really question him like you kind of did Peterson some of the season. And he just looked kind of like some of the times I saw Peterson play, he just almost looked like he was wandering around out there too. So, you wonder how complex the NBA game or whatever, if he's going to handle it right away, or if it's going to take a while too. But I also want to say that it was probably when you were a little kid, but I know you're a Mavs fan.
Yeah.
And back in the early 2000s, mid 2000, they had to make a rule change to the playoffs because the several years in a row, the Mavs and the Spurs were the best teams in the West and possibly the whole league, but they were playing each other in round 2, like year in, year out. And it's like, imagine if we had to see the Spurs and the Thunder this round and not in the conference finals and almost like the de facto finals in a way. But it's like, I'm glad that they made that rule change back then so that we're not getting like, I don't know, it's a shame the Pacers aren't in the playoffs this year because seems like a healthy Pacers from last year would have like walked to the finals with this competition, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really does. This roster's really, really good. And that's, I think, part of why the Pacers were willing to give up the potential first round pick this year. It's because they know that this roster is already really good. It'll be one of the better ones in the East again next year. So I think that's a really good point, Ross. Thanks for the call, man.
Yep. Thank you.
See you, Ross. 317-228-1430. If you want to call in now for your chance to win a couple of tickets to Holiday World. Summer is right around the corner, and you need something to do with your kids. Holiday World. It's a great place to take them for a nice summer afternoon. And, yeah, the Cam Boozer thing is – I'm so fascinated to see where he goes. He was the number 1 ranked player in his class for a reason. I mean, like there's a reason for that. It's because he was really good. And the other thing that I really like about Cam Boozer, to kind of piggyback off of one of the points that Ross made, talked about how like when Darren Peterson didn't have the ball at Kansas, you could see him just kind of wandering around the perimeter, not really sure of himself, not really knowing what to do. When you're Darren Peterson and you've been the best player on every court you've ever played on, unless Cooper Flagg or Cam Boozer was on it, then you always have the ball and you get to make every decision and you're given the green light in pretty much every situation. And then all of a sudden you get to Kansas where everybody else is really good. And all of a sudden you don't have the ball as often as everybody else. And now you got to play off the ball. And this is probably the first time in Darren Peterson's life that was the case. And this is one of the things that I like about Cam Boozer. He spent his entire life playing with his twin brother, who's obviously not as good as Cam Boozer is, but was a really good point guard, which means Cam Boozer had to play off the ball a lot, and he had to learn how to cut, and he had to learn how to post up, and he had to learn how to do all of these extra things other than create a shot for himself on the ball or create a shot for somebody else on the ball. He knows how to play off the ball, and that is a really undervalued and underrated trait of a lot of these guys whenever they get drafted. Because there's one ball, there's 30 teams, the best player gets the ball in their hands on all 30 teams. That is the very simple reality of it. And so the majority of the guys who get drafted this year, they're not going to be the best player on their team. Even the guys who get drafted, really high. Because whoever the Pacers take, they're not putting the ball in their hands. They're going to put it in the hands of Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, and then whenever that second unit comes out onto the floor, ball's going to be in TJ McConnell's hands. Okay? That is what we need. John Buzzard chiming in saying, can I leave my kids at Holiday World for a couple days to give myself a parenting break? I think that's a great idea, especially for you because you've got a senior in high school. So, yeah, but hey, man, welcome to adulthood. You're going to take your siblings to Holiday World, and I'm going to stay here. Good luck. I recommend packing some snacks and then, cut them loose. 317-228-1430 if you'd like to play a game for your chance to win a couple of tickets to Holiday World. We're probably just going to give them to you, but, the game makes it more fun, It's way better than you just calling in saying, I would like the tickets. So, plus, you may learn something. I don't know. It's a good time. I did all this work to put together these questions.
So if nobody calls in, you can ask me, and I'll probably get them all wrong. But I'd like to guess.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Again, that number is 317-228-1430 if you'd like to call in for your chance to win a couple of Holiday World tickets. You can text that number as well if you just want to be part of the conversation. And, of course, you can comment on YouTube or X as well. Ross with another great comment in the YouTube chat saying that watching Embiid against the Celtics made me think I'm glad we got Zubac. It's a really nice thing. It's a really nice thing because, look, Miles Turner, I'm always going to appreciate him more than everybody else did. Like his ability to shoot the ball was such a big deal for the Pacers offense last year. Obviously, you're losing that with Zubac, but what you're losing with that, you were gaining, and his ability to defend the rim, which is incredibly important. And you are also gaining his defense. Or excuse me, I already said that. His ability to defend the rim. You're gaining his screening ability. This dude's one of the best screeners in the NBA. It's one of the most underrated skills in the league. You need a good screener. And you're gaining a guy who, if Siakam's in foul trouble and you need an easy 2 points, you can duck the ball into him. And he can find a way to post up and get some buckets for you, which is a very valuable thing because it's just nice to have a guy who can get you an easy 2 points in the playoffs. Okay. So 317-228-1430 for your chance to win some tickets to Holiday World. Again, we've got some trivia questions for you, and I'm excited. The questions are good. You'll like them. I promise. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can guarantee that you'll like something, but I don't know. Did you watch the Game 7s?
You're gonna like it and you'll love it.
That's right. You're gonna like it. It's like when your parents are making you eat your vegetables. It's like, you're gonna eat your green beans and you're gonna like it.
That's a topic for another day. We should do stuff that mom used to make us eat that we didn't like.
Green beans.
Much. Okay.
Hated them.
Yeah.
Still do.
Here. Same here.
Still do. But
yes, I did watch the Game 7s and the Magic and Pistons. I wish I could say that was cinematic, but that just to watch the fallout from that, I think they were up by 24 around halftime and then just kind of fell through in the second half. And I don't know if I'd ever seen anything like it that severe of a, just not showing up for the second half. Game 7, you can't be doing that. I know that. And then the Celtics, I didn't expect them to lose to the Sixers at all.
I didn't either. Not at home.
Not at home.
Which one of our trivia questions has to do with home games for Game 7s. So there you go. There's a little hint for you. 317-228-1430. If you'd like your chance to win a couple of tickets to Holiday World. If we don't give them away, I guess we give away 4 tomorrow. Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Someone with someone who has like 8 kids is just gonna be like, they're gonna be waiting until Friday. Like, nobody, please don't let anybody else call in all week. I need all 10 of these. I don't want to pay for a babysitter. But at the same time, I think I'd rather pay for a babysitter than haul 8 kids to Holiday World.
I would agree with that.
Terrible. That sounds awful. Like, I like kids. Not enough to take 10 to Holiday World. Sounds like way too much work.
I mean, when my daughters were little, obviously they had all their little friends, and we went to the different parks around Indiana, and rode rafties down the creek or whatever. But they entertained each other. It wasn't like I had to watch other people's kids, but so that was.
Are you a roller coaster guy?
No, I do not do heights. Sorry. I don't run. I don't do heights, and everything else I'm cool with.
Everything else? Snakes? You do snakes?
Nope. That's another one.
Okay. All right. Dude, I love roller coasters, man. I'm going to Holiday World at some point this summer. Haven't been. Was supposed to go last year, and then my boy got his heart broken, and so we didn't. We called it off. We're like, never mind. It was the night before. Me and my wife were supposed to go with him and his girlfriend, and then the night before we were supposed to go, I get a text, and he's like, "Hey, man, I don't think we can go to Holiday World anymore." I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's not cool.
Yeah, it sucked. I felt so bad for him. I drove all the way over, and had to be a good friend.
That should have been all the more reason to go, though. Like, hey, man.
Well, we had 4 tickets, and so he was supposed to bring her, and it was going to be like a double date thing. And so, yeah, it all got messed up from there, which, it happens sometimes.
I see.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. All right. Last call for it. 317-228-1430. That is the number if you want your chance to win a couple of tickets to Holiday World. You don't have to take your kids. You can just go with your wife
That's right.
or girlfriend or mistress, I guess. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat.
Could have a Mike Vrabel date at Holiday
Seriously.
World.
I mean, if that's, if
Make a
you want to be a
Holiday World.
sleaze bag, go right ahead.
Make a Holiday World mixtape and
That's right.
make a whole
Just
thing out of it.
watch out for PIs while you're riding roller coasters.
See, I wouldn't do the roller coasters. I'd go to the water park though. Water park's legit. I'm all about the water stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like a good water park. I just don't like being wet. That's the thing. I don't like walking around the park wet. It's not fun.
Well, on a hot day, you dry off pretty quick. So I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. All right, 317-228-1430. Last call for your chance to call in and win Holiday World tickets. If you call in, we will play the game in 3 minutes. If not, we're going to play the game anyway. We'll test Chris's knowledge on Game 7s in 3 minutes. Welcome back to the Real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indie Sports Ticket. Thank you for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in, whether that's YouTube, Indie Sports Ticket. If you want to head over there and subscribe, maybe you're watching on X, the Indie Sports Ticket app. Maybe you're listening on 1430 AM. No matter how you're tuned in, it's greatly appreciated. No one called in. What a bummer. No one wants to go to Holiday World, I guess. You should. It's a great place. So instead of testing a listener's knowledge, we're going to test Chris's knowledge.
This should be entertaining.
10 questions. Wait. What is this? Never mind. I got a text message from somebody, and I was like, what are we looking at here? Never mind. Okay. 10 questions about Game 7s, about the history of Game 7s. Look, you ready, Chris? You ready for this?
I will do my best.
Do we have game show music today? Do I need to stall for a couple minutes?
I mean, yeah, it's unavailable. No,
What?
Sorry.
That's okay. It happens. All right. Question 1. Which team has played in the most Game 7s in NBA history?
No multiple choice. I'm just taking a shot in the dark.
Just taking a shot in the dark.
Most.
I'll give you a hint because there's no multiple choice.
Okay.
Think like prominent NBA franchises.
Okay.
The more popular ones.
Probably Celtics.
The Celtics, yes.
Hey, let's go.
Do you know how many appearances they have?
Not a clue.
36 after Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, whenever they played their Game 7.
36 Game
All right.
7s.
You're 1 for 1.
Hey, let's go.
Question 2. In the 2016 NBA Finals, which team became the first ever to come back from a 3-1 series deficit to win Game 7 on the road? Oh, come on. This is like one of the most famous comebacks in the history of the sport.
Who was on the team?
If I tell you that, you'll know it immediately.
Was it the Thunder?
No, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
Coming back against the Golden State Warriors. Question number 3. True or false? There you go. 50-50 shot here. True or false? Every single active NBA franchise has played in at least one Game 7.
False.
It's true.
Oh, man.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
I was shocked. I was like, the Wizards have made the playoffs since they went to a 7-game format.
What? The Pelicans, too?
Yeah.
All right.
I know. Pretty crazy.
Okay.
So, and I mean, it has to be true. It's on the internet, right? That's
right.
That's how that works, I
Sure.
think.
Yeah.
All right. Next question here. I got to pull my tab back up because I checked the wrong thing. Where did that tab go? There it is. Nope. Wrong tab. This is great radio right here. There we go.
Look at Ross over here answering the questions in the chat.
Question 4. Which legendary center famously went 10-0 in Game 7s during his career? Played center.
Vlade Divac.
No. No.
Rick Smits.
No. Go back to the Celtics.
Center?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not Shaq.
Nope.
Are we talking current Jason Tatum?
Nope. Old dead guy.
Oh, man.
Died probably about 5 years ago.
For the Celtics.
The NBA Finals MVP. You did you see the answer?
Russell.
Yeah. it's Bill Russell.
There you go.
All right.
I am not great at this.
It's okay. It's all right. Hey, at least you're playing. We got all these pansies listening to the show who didn't want to call in and try to do this.
That's okay. They just want to hear me get them all wrong.
Who holds the record? Okay. Before I ask this question, new idea for when we do these games.
Okay.
We have someone call in and we have 10 questions like this. And instead of having them answer the questions, we have them guess how many you get right.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, let's just throw my embarrassment out there in the circle. I like it.
All right. Question 5. Who holds the record for the most points ever scored in a single Game 7? Current player in the Western Conference.
LeBron.
No, that's a good guess, though. Do you have a second guess?
SGA.
I'll give you one more guess.
Current player in the Western Conference.
You're on the right track. Not currently in the playoffs.
Not currently in the playoffs. Because they were eliminated, right?
Eliminated in the play-in. Yep.
I don't know.
You can guess it. Come on. Think far west, like on the West Coast. Played in the play-in.
Maybe the Clippers.
Nope, not the Clippers. They beat the Clippers.
Dude, I don't remember who played last week. Let's see.
Come on. I'm going to say it, and you're going to be like, gosh dang it, of course.
Probably. Give me another hint. Is it Seth Curry?
It's Steph Curry. Yeah. Did you cheat on that one too?
No.
No, you didn't.
It just got there.
Do you know when? Do you know how many points?
38.
50.
Nice.
50 points, 2023 against the Sacramento Kings.
You came up with these questions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Question number 6. Only one player has ever won the NBA Finals MVP while playing for the losing team in Game 7. Who was it?
Oh, was it Kobe?
Nope. Played for the Lakers though.
He was the MVP.
Died recently. He's the logo.
He's the logo?
He's the NBA logo.
It's not Jordan. He's
Nope.
not dead.
Nope.
And he didn't play for the Lakers.
He did not. two for two on that.
Was it Robert Horry? He's not dead. Rick Fox.
Nope. It's Jerry West.
Oh man,
Jerry West.
I'm not good with the old basketball.
That's
stuff.
okay. That's all right. We're getting there.
Making me sweat
All
over
right.
here.
So the first 3 questions were easy.
Okay.
The second group of 3 was a little bit tougher. This last group, this last group of 3s, it's rough. Okay.
All right.
In the iconic 1970 Finals Game 7, also known as the Willis Reed game, which Knicks legend actually led the team in scoring with 36 points and 19 assists to secure the title?
I don't have a clue. I'm going to say
Frazier.
There you go.
Okay. Also known as Clyde Frazier. All right. Question number 8.
This was for Holiday World tickets?
This is for Holiday World tickets. Yeah. Which NBA coach has the most unenviable record of losing the most Game 7s in playoff history? This guy got fired this year, coached in the Eastern Conference.
Was it the coach from the Magic?
No. Older. Former player. Coached the Celtics and won the NBA Finals in 2008.
Not
Has an awful sounding voice. It sounds like gravel.
like gravel. I don't know, man.
It's yes, you do. He coached the Bucks.
Oh, Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers. There you go. Do you know how many losses?
No.
Take a guess.
7.
10.
Oh.
7's close. That'd have been really fitting though for Game 7s.
Right,
Would have
yeah.
been. All right. Question 9. Oh, jeez. I forgot about this one. This one's brutal. Kawhi Leonard hit the shot for the Toronto Raptors to win Game 7 against the 76ers in 2019. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay.
I remember that one.
How many times did the ball bounce on the rim before falling in?
You can't be serious. Was it 3?
4. It's
Oh,
close.
okay.
That's a good guess. All right. Here we go. Lightning round. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Who hit the go-ahead three-pointer in the final minute of Game 7 for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2016 NBA Finals when they came back from down 3-1? It's not LeBron. It was the other guy.
Cleveland.
Former number 1 overall pick. Played at Duke. Has crazy handles. Plays for the Mavericks now, but didn't play because he tore his ACL.
Shooting guard.
/ point guard, yeah.
Okay. I don't. I can't.
Kyrie Irving.
Okay. I didn't know he was with the Mavericks right now.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
My knowledge is not great.
All right. If you get this one, you can have the Holiday World tickets. Okay.
Sweet.
Which city hosted the first ever NBA Game 7 in 1948? I want to see if anyone in the YouTube chat
What
knows
city?
this.
I'm obviously going to guess because I don't know, but I'm going to say Philadelphia.
They played in the game, so partial credit there. Okay. Here's another hint, okay? This city does not currently have an NBA team.
Seattle.
Great guess. That's such a good
That's
guess.
the first one I thought
That's
of.
not right, but that's
Okay.
a great guess.
Cool.
St. Louis.
Oh.
The St. Louis Bombers
Nah.
later had Moses Malone on their team in the ABA. I want a Moses Malone St. Louis Bombers jersey so badly.
Okay.
I've been looking for them, can't find them anywhere. But that's fine. All right.
That was the toughest thing I've ever done in my life, Jonathan.
I've got two more.
Oh no.
We're not done. We got two left.
Okay.
How many game sevens have gone into double overtime? Now, it's a rare thing, obviously. How many game sevens have gone into double overtime?
In the history of game sevens.
In the history of game sevens in the NBA.
I'm going to say 4.
1. It happened in 1957 between the Celtics and the Hawks.
Jeez.
All right, last one. Oh, man. Former Pacer is the answer to this question. Okay? Which Laker role player hit a massive clutch three-pointer in the fourth quarter of Game 7 of the 2010 NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics?
Former Pacer?
Played for the Pacers, was a part of a very famous Pacers versus Pistons game that happened in Detroit.
This is Ron Artest.
It's Ron Artest.
Okay.
Good job. There we go. Ending on a win.
Yeah. Let's
Ending
go.
on a win.
I'll take it.
All right. Bonus question.
Oh my God.
Telling you, I came prepared today. I wanted
did.
someone to call in. And no one called in.
I know the answers like you knew WrestleMania answers.
Seriously, yeah. All right. Statistically, who is more likely to win a Game 7, the home team or the road team?
Obviously the home team, wouldn't it?
Yep, the home team. Would you like to guess the percentage, the percentage of time that the home team wins Game 7?
48%.
Okay, Chris, I want us to back up here. You said that the home team is more likely to win, and then you went with the number under 50%.
So it's obviously more than 50%.
More than 50%. Yes.
We're going to say 52%.
Okay. 75%.
Wow.
75% of the time, the home team wins Game 7. Oh, man.
I'm not great with math either.
That's
obviously.
okay. That's all right.
All right.
That's why we're doing this. And we're not building rockets
And
or anything like that.
no holiday world for me.
Oh, man. That was so funny. That was fun. That was awesome.
Glad I
Okay.
could be here for your entertainment.
I mean, look, sometimes you have to be willing to be the butt of the joke.
Hey, I'm cool with it.
It is, it's just a part of being in radio. If you can't make fun of yourself, then go do something else.
I feel like I should have known more of those though, but
Yeah,
that part of history in my brain.
there's like a couple of them in there, like the I don't know. I figured that you would get the 2016 NBA Finals one. I figured you would get honestly, outside of that, like the rest of them are pretty hard. Those are pretty difficult. How many did you get right? 3?
I'm not sure anybody would have been winning
You
holiday
got-
world tickets.
You got the Celtics one right. You got the Doc Rivers one right.
And I got the Artest one right.
You got the Artest one right. You got 3 right. 3 for 14. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Could always be worse.
All right, if you want the tickets, we'll just give them away now. 317-228-1430. We won't make you play a game. You can hop in and out real quick. No questions asked outside of like the things we need to know to send you the tickets. So again, 317-228-1430 if you would like a couple of tickets. The Holiday World. When we come back here in about 3 minutes or so, we will talk about now someone wants to call in. Golly. 317-228-1430. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
If it's in today's sports world, it's here. The real Jonathan Smith Show on Indy Sports Ticket 1430 AM, 93.9 HD2, and always on the free Indy Sports Ticket app.
Welcome back to the real Jonathan Smith Show here on Indy's Sports Ticket. Thanks for tuning in, no matter how you're tuning in. YouTube, X, the Indy Sports Ticket app, 1430 AM. No matter how you are tuned in, it is greatly, greatly appreciated. Congrats to Matt for winning the Holiday World Tickets. I'm just disappointed that Matt didn't want to play our game. I don't know what it is, man. I feel like we're fun guys. I don't know.
Matt would have got more than I would have, I bet.
Absolutely. I mean, they were hard. Like, you can. I'll be honest. I didn't know a lot of them until I did the research. So, there's that. Oh man, jeez, dude. This show has flown by. Today's been so much fun, and that is really all that you can ask for whenever you do a radio show. We've got, speaking of fun, we haven't talked about the Kentucky Derby, and we have to do that. Golden Tempo had one of the best comebacks in the history of the Kentucky Derby. I watched it at a bachelor party. The funniest part, someone bets on oh, gosh dang it. What was that horse's name? I don't want to call it the wrong thing. The Great White, I think was the name of the horse. Something like that. We had a guy, they go out, where's it at here? Yeah, Great White. One of the guys in the bachelor party bet on Great White, and then like 2 minutes later, Great White had an incident where it bucked off the guy who was bucked off the jockey. They couldn't get it into the stable or whatever the little gates are that they run out of. And so basically, like, it didn't race. And so my buddy lost his, I'm pretty sure he lost his money, which I think is absolutely hilarious. That has to go up there with the worst beat of anything. I mean, absolutely hilarious. Ross chiming in. Ross, you're right. Matt didn't win the tickets. He received tickets. We're turning into the freaking NCAA over here. We're just everybody gets tickets. Everybody gets into the NCAA tournament for March Madness. Basically the same thing. What are we doing over here? I don't know. But Great White ends up not running, so my buddy lost his money, which just makes me laugh. And then the race starts, and no one's paying any attention to Golden Tempo because Golden Tempo was at the back, was in last place for like 3/4 of the race, and then in the last quarter mile pulled out its inner Fast and Furious. I live my life 1/4 a mile at a time, and turned on the jets and hawked everybody, looking like DK Metcalf running down Buda Baker about 6 years ago, and ends up winning. Showed off the closing speed we all hope that CJ Allen and AJ Halsey have. But my favorite part of this story, as magnificent as the comeback was, Jose Ortiz was the jockey for Golden Tempo. His brother was the jockey for Renegade, the favorite to win the race. What an elite feeling. Like, anytime you're the underdog and you win, just like the feeling of overcoming the odds is awesome. It's a great feeling, right? But there's nothing like being an underdog and then coming back to beat your brother. That is exactly what Jose Ortiz did. Okay, like that has to be an elite feeling. Not only did Jose Ortiz win the Kentucky Derby, but he upset his brother to do it. Like that just has to be, the cherry on top, right? I mean, come on. Incredible stuff. Chris, I know you said that you missed it, but seriously, if you get an opportunity to go back and watch the race, it's not even a minute. Watching Golden Tempo literally be all the way in the back and then pull it off in the last quarter mile, it's incredible.
This entire event, Kentucky Derby, is only like what it lasts just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So this whole weekend affair is just for the 2 minutes, and then it's just one race, right?
There's a bunch of races leading up to it.
Okay, like
Um,
heats.
yeah. I'll be honest. I don't really know.
Horse heats.
I just know that there's multiple races. It is a full day at the racetrack where you're making bets and doing all that kind of stuff.
Right. This one's the main event, though.
But this
that
is
you're
the main
talking-
event.
I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this would be my guess. I don't know. So I don't want to speak out of line. If someone wants to call in 317-228-1430 and, explain how this works. I'm assuming that it's kind of like boxing where you have like your undercard and like, you can bet the undercard and do those things and then you slowly kind of work your way up
That makes sense.
to the main event. That's why I'm assuming that it works, but I have absolutely no idea. Jeez, John.
I just read that.
John Buzzer chiming in saying it's like my date night, a lot of prep work for just a minute of thrill. Hey man, it happens to all of us, So sometimes that's just the way it goes.
I don't know, man. I got mine. You better get yours.
Okay.
Best effort Friday. I don't know if you took part in that, but we might have to move to Wednesday with your hump day music. We might have to move Best Effort Friday to Wednesday.
What?
Best Effort Friday was something that Dan
Okay.
had created on
Okay.
Fridays. Everybody went home and took care of business with their spouses.
Oh.
But now I think we should move it to Wednesday because of your hump day
because
music.
of over the hump day?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry.
Stuff for Friday.
Now you're caught up.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I thought you knew.
Okay.
He didn't
No,
do
no,
it when you were here?
No.
Okay.
No, that's a new thing. That's good though. That's fun. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
I try to give my best effort every day. That's just me though.
Well, you're young. You can do that.
That's true. That's true.
My age, once a week.
Once a week.
That's fine.
Man, that's. I love the There's a joke where it's like, do you know how many times on average a Japanese guy has sex in a year?
Tell me.
This is a true stat.
Okay.
About 3 times a year.
Really?
Yeah, that is a true stat. And so there's this bit where guys will look at their wives. These guys are idiots as far as I'm concerned. And they'll say, "Hey, do you know how many times a year a Japanese guy has sex on average?" She goes, "No, I have no idea." He'll go, "About 3 times a year." She goes, "Oh, like that's interesting." He goes, "Yeah. I didn't know I was Japanese either." Which is a crazy thing to say
Yeah.
to your spouse. Would not recommend, personally. Wouldn't recommend doing that at all. Yeah. I don't know how to smoothly transition from that topic. So we're just going to jump right into the NBA basketball games that are going on tonight. Okay. I am a big fan of NBC. I think NBC has done a fantastic job all year in terms of making NBA games feel like big events. But tonight they have upset me. We have 2 basketball games. We have a game being played in New York City, the Eastern time zone. We have a game being played in San Antonio. Why in the world are the Knicks playing at 8 p.m. and the Spurs playing at 9:30? There's 2 games tonight. One game should be at 7. The other game should be at 9:30. Simple as that. The games should not be at 8 o'clock and 9:30. These games should not be overlapping. Okay? Like that should not be happening at this point in the year. If I was the NBA, I would be incredibly upset because I would want as many eyes on the games as possible. And when you're overlapping them, that's not going to happen. You're making people choose between the Knicks, the biggest brand in the sports and the biggest market in the sports. You're making them pick between that and Victor Wembanyama, the new face of the league, the new guy that fascinates everybody. You should not be forcing fans to make that decision. You should stagger the games properly to where they don't overlap. Jeez Louise. Just insane stuff there. Golly. There's certain things that should just be common sense. And for some reason, this isn't common sense for everybody. I don't understand why that is, but it's fine. Whatever. My official finals prediction was wrong. I had the Celtics and the Thunder. The Thunder look great right now. I have no idea who's going to come out of the East. I talked about this a little bit last week. I hate that the Pacers just kind of had to take a gap year because of Halliburton's injury. Because they would have been, look, things happen, guys get better, guys regress, but it feels like they would have been right in the mix this year with everybody else in terms of an opportunity to come out of the East. Because the Pistons have a lack of on-ball creation, something that you need in the playoffs. When it comes to, the Cavaliers, they're not as good. I don't think they're very good defensively. I always like the idea of playing against James Harden in the playoffs. The Knicks continue to run into the same issue. I think it's going to be really tough for them to get stops against these better offensive teams with both Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson on the floor. I think Philly is going to give them all they can handle. Honestly, if the 76ers win that series, I won't be surprised at all. So I have no idea who's coming out of the East. And that's what makes these games, I think, so fascinating tonight. Can't wait for it. May the 4th be with you is also today. And someone was tweeting at me earlier. I think it was Volter. Volter was chiming in saying that he would rather watch a Chris Ballard press conference than the 3 newest Star Wars movies. I feel like that's brutal.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a very casual Star Wars guy. I catch a lot of the references, but not all of them. I am likely to go see the new Mandalorian movie on May 22nd. Like, all of the big stuff I'll watch and I'll pay attention to. That being said, to act like the last 3 movies, movies 7, 8, and 9 are terrible compared to like the second group of 3 that were made. So like in order, movies 1 and 2 are not good. They're not good movies. Okay, the third one is, see, and I'm such a Star Wars guy that I don't remember the names of them. But like I thought that 7, 8, and 9 was better than the grouping of 1, 2, and 3, even though the third movie is really good. It's fun. You got Anakin where he officially turns to the dark side and all that kind of stuff. It's obviously a really important movie when it comes to the prequels, but 1 and 2 are terrible. No good at all. Yeah. So there's your 20 seconds of daily Star Wars content. Chris, what am I going to talk about now? I'm not really a runner anymore, so I can't bring up how I ran every day. What do I bring up now?
Your dunking progress? Isn't that what you're working towards next?
That's the next thing.
Maybe we'll measure you every week like we were doing with Dan's weight.
Really?
He was trying to lose weight so that he could get KFC.
That's a terrible reward. KFC.
That's what his goal was. He was trying to lose some pounds, and he was like, "I'm gonna earn me a 12-piece or something like that, right?"
Okay,
so
fair
maybe
enough. Yeah.
we work towards your next goal, which is what you said, dunking.
Dunking.
Okay.
I got to lose weight to make that happen. But yeah, okay, sounds good. I can talk about that. And when I dunk, I will win. Not if. When I dunk, I will post the video, and I'll wear something special, kind of like this, the day after I do it. All these new listeners are watching. They're like, this guy's an idiot. He's doing the whole Terrell Owens thing, sunglasses inside. Is this a daily thing? No, not a daily thing. I just felt really cool after running 13.1 miles 13.2 miles on Saturday while you probably sat on your couch and had a better Saturday than I did. But,
Are sunglasses and a medal the equivalent of a backwards hat, or is this like?
I don't know. Terrell Owens is pretty good. So I would say no. All right, that's going to do it here on the Real Jonathan Smith Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll have another great show for you tomorrow starting at noon. Chris, thank you as always for all of your hard work. We're giving away more Holiday World tickets tomorrow, so we will have another game to play. We'll keep talking Colts, Pacers, and everything else going on in sports. We will talk to you tomorrow starting at noon. See ya.